Man, nothing has to be as disappointing as finding out that you don't even have enough dick for lunch.
I know I don't.
I don't.
No, nobody does.
Yeah. Well, if you could have, for me, you can have one ball for one lunch and another for dinner.
That's different.
Yeah.
But that's only if you want to eat the same thing twice.
Absolutely, and that's the type of German eggs that I don't want. I don't want your German eggs. It's just weird. The idea
What
of
about for Easter?
a big bouncy eggs for me and my pop. I love Germany. What a great day today's going to be.
Welcome to the last podcast on the left, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcus Sparks. I'm here with Henry Zabrowski.
Hungry Henry Zabrowski. Oh man, I did eat lunch.
What'd you have?
I had my Gert. I had berries and Gert.
I had that for breakfast.
Yeah, that was my lunch.
And I had a green smoothie for lunch today, knowing that we were going to have this episode.
But I'm excited about today.
Yeah.
Because today it's time for Dude to be on the menu. Yeah, we did it. We made it.
We made it. And of course, making it with us is Ed Larson.
For years, I worked at a cheesesteak restaurant. Years. 99 miles to Philly.
Do you think one of the saddest things?
You think this is 99 miles to Frankfurt?
Do you have to shave the meat? Like when you do
It comes pretty pre-shaven, but we kind of half cook it and then put it with some juice on the side and then freeze it and then unfreeze it.
But it doesn't come in a big frozen block that you shave sections off, because I wondered how he'd make cheese dick. Like how would he make human cheesesteak?
I would imagine he'd probably use the back and shave it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we never went through, I didn't, it was a storefront. We're not shaving legs of cow and shit like that.
No.
They're giving us the meat. It's got a little deli paper in between it. We're flapping on the grill.
Yeah, it's a tiny little place in the East Village, and man, I miss that place.
I miss that place.
R.I.P.
But guys, today it's getting romantic. But just remember, tone's going to shift. Because last week, you remember, like, again, it gets very romantic, but it gets a little intense. That's why we're going from old school. Hey, ho, 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 ho,
It's a good bounce.
we're going from that too.
Man.
And of course, that is Rammstein with their song About. Well, actually, it's not necessarily about Armin Meiwes. It's more about, it's from the perspective of the man Armin Meiwes ate.
The man who came to dinner and was dinner.
Yeah, appropriately named Burnt.
Hey, it was medium rare.
Well, not the penis. We'll get into it. You know what's interesting about Rammstein? I didn't realize they're named after the town. Because I went to Ramstein Air Force Base. I don't know if it's Stein or Steen. It's Stein. I went to Ramstein Air Force Base when I did USO.
Oh, wow.
So they're like Germany, Chicago.
That's amazing. That's Chicago. Is that their version of Saturday in the Park?
I love that song.
Love that song.
So when we last left Armin Meiwes, his fantasies of killing and eating another man were about to come true.
Lucky boy.
After spending months on various cannibal forums searching for a potential willing victim and coming up empty, Armin had finally found a man who was pathologically obsessed with being annihilated by another human being, culinarily speaking.
As is called Epicurean cannibalism. Did you know that there's a whole world of cannibalism that's called Epicurean cannibalism, which means to eat for the taste?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Just not for survival. I guess then you should distinct the two.
Well, we do. We covered it when we covered the Alive. We were talking about the rugby team. That's technically anthropophagy, which is they eating for survival. It's called survival cannibalism. But yeah, he just liked it.
Yeah, I wonder if they think he's like a poser or the best.
He actually did become a minor folk hero in his little community.
Oh, interesting.
Well, the man who was annihilated was named Bernd Brandis, and his desire, because it's burned instead of burnt. It's burned. And his desire to be consumed and Armin's desire to feast upon flesh matched about as perfectly as one could hope in situations such as this.
Yeah, man. It's just kind of incredible.
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to meet your soulmate. You
It
never
wasn't
know where
a
you're gonna
perfect
be.
match. We're going to get into it. It wasn't a perfect match, but
Hey, what's perfect? What's perfect? Our marriage is perfect? No. Are they great? Yes.
yeah.
So, They found it. They found themselves. It's
So-
like Jack and Rose.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of blood.
So after a period of back and forth on email, Bernd arrived at Armin's local train station with an aggressive attitude towards being killed and eaten as soon as possible, but not necessarily in that order.
What if Bernd did show up with just 2 hamburger buns? Just like, what does this look like? Is it my new hat?
Now, as far as how a specimen such as Bernd Brandis came to be, he was born in Berlin in 1958 as the perfectly normal middle-class son of 2 doctors.
Now, those doctors, they spend a lot of time massaging his body with nice, delicious herbs and like a sake in order to sort of like marble him through. Like to get.
We're going to do this the whole time?
I'm just saying. You say this is how you make the perfect.
You're starting at the very beginning. You're starting with his birth.
You're just saying that
Well,
it
when
was.
he was first marinated.
Yeah, exactly. That's where they start these Kobe beefs. That's where they start them, straight out the pussy.
But when Bernd was 5 years old, his mother accidentally killed a patient during a procedure.
Dropped an anvil on him.
That anvil therapy is so dangerous.
It's only in Europe.
Well, soon after, while on vacation, his mother crashed her car into a tree, which killed her instantly. While it was ruled an accident, Bernd's father always believed it to be a suicide because she couldn't live with the guilt of a patient's death. But the stress of Bernd's mother's death at such a young age and the subsequent transference of his mother's guilt, this became a pathology in which Bernd believed that he had to atone for his mother's failings and her death through his own annihilation and suffering. Or at least that's what's speculated.
There really is. Seems to be. I don't know, but a pretty big connection to mommy issues and cannibalism.
Well, I mean,
Ed
most...
Kemper.
I mean, really...
He also did weird cannibalistic acts. He had problems with mommy, right?
Well, I would say that most, what do you call them? Not fetishes. A lot of them are associated with mommy. It's not just cannibalism.
Because mommy's got the tits.
It's
but sometimes daddy's got the dicks, and if you like the dicks, then daddy might give you the fetishes.
But remember, daddy wasn't around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't help him. But a lot of mommies around are really not doing their best.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're like Jeffrey Dahmer. He had issues.
Yeah, bad mommy?
Yeah, he had bad mommy.
Well,
yeah.
he had but a distant mommy.
Well, he had a mommy that was incredibly depressive, and that affected him in many ways. And his parents had a horrible relationship, and then they just abandoned him when he was about 16, and that's when he started killing men.
But that's because he sucked. See, and that's the thing is that the kids suck. So yeah, they were right.
Yeah, my parents pretty much abandoned me at 17. I didn't kill anybody.
No,
same here.
except for audiences around this country. Go to eddytunes.com and go and have him come to your local church, your local funeral
I'll
home.
play anywhere.
But what's most interesting about this is that both Bernd and Armin developed their fantasies at around the same age, although Armin seemed to have been born with it, while Bernd's was created by outside forces. But we got a really interesting email on the sides at Side Stories this week from a person who actually does have this like cannibalism fetish, and they said that through speaking with other people who have this same fetish, they're like, you're kind of just born with it.
Yeah, it
like
does
they
seem-
just all say like, and they said a lot of people get it though. Like when it does get kind of baked in later on, a lot of people get it from from Pinocchio. Like when
Really?
Pinocchio gets swallowed by the whale.
What?
Some of them say like, yeah, that when I watched that when I was a kid, it made me really horny.
What?
Yeah,
Getting swallowed by the whale?
Yeah, but that's vor. Then we're in the world of vor
But
too.
is
Because
there's
vor is something else entirely. Vor is the idea that you are sexually attracted to the idea of being entirely consumed. That's burned, kinda.
Yeah.
In his own way, he does like that kind of because his is the opposite swing, right? Where Armin's is all about about looking at people as food, but Burned looked in the mirror and sees pizza.
Yeah.
Like he literally is like, I'm hot. I'm so hot. I shouldn't exist.
Yeah. And he had no strings to hold him down.
Great Pinocchio joke. Fantastic.
It is
Do you know
fine.
he only lies once in the
Yeah,
whole
I know.
fucking
Yes.
movie?
It's because he's inherently honest. Pinocchio, he learned a lesson early. He's a pure spirit.
Nevertheless, while Armin was obsessed with consuming his entire life, Bernd had a lifelong obsession with being consumed. And it wasn't like we'll get into it later. It wasn't just that it made him horny.
It was
there
everything.
was a lot of shit going on with Barron, including like not being okay with being like having a lot of issues with being gay, having issues with like self-love and self-hatred and all that.
Well,
like Barron was he's a fascinating individual, but you know, he's got some problems.
He's got problems.
Yeah, he seems oddly self-aware.
He is.
He's, I think, one of the most incredibly self-aware people that I've ever read about.
Yeah.
Very in touch with himself. But just like Armin, Bernd was an average human being to most outside observers. He was the head of his department at Germany's largest engineering firm, and he had a string of unsuccessful relationships with women. Finally, though, at the age of 40, he accepted that he was gay. By the end of 1999, 2 years before his fateful meeting with Armin, Bernd was even in a healthy relationship with a man named Rene, and together they built a happy life in Berlin, even though Bernd chose to keep his sexuality a secret from his co-workers. But what's fascinating about Bernd, and I do find Bernd an absolutely fascinating individual.
Yes, we are very sickeningly curious about Bernd.
Is that while many people with a pathological need for self-destruction sometimes channel that into addiction or risky behavior, Bernd channeled his need completely into sexual fetishes.
It was all day. And I get it. I'm horny too. I'm horny as a damn jackrabbit. And I'm not this horny.
So him and Renee were just banging and banging and banging and banging and banging?
Well, I mean, he engaged in the services of various sex workers. He would go up to 3 times a day.
3 times a day.
That's expensive.
I mean, well, he was the head of his fucking team.
You never know. You never know who's doing what.
And
yeah, do you think he had to have one of those mouse twitchers to keep let them know that he was at work while he was like going and getting sounded and getting his butthole destroyed?
Well, you would go to play out his extreme BDSM urges, in which he would be whipped and his fantasies could be taken to their limits. Eventually, though, the play acting wasn't enough. His biggest fantasy, the one that came ahead of total annihilation, was castration.
But not the old school castration.
No.
Not the balls.
No, I mean, it's the full Megillah.
Yeah.
It's if a guillotine was a mouth.
And it was his hope that one day he would watch himself be castrated by another man before that man consumed him completely. Now, at first, Bernd tried paying sex workers to bite off his penis, once even going so far as to offer a man named Victor 10,000 marks to do so. Victor, of course, declined, so Bernd turned to the internet in the hopes that he could find someone willing to go all the way.
Let's say you're in that scenario, right? At this point, you're spanking this guy. What else are we doing to this guy, right? We're doing a bunch of weird shit, beating the shit out of him.
Not weird. BDSM, totally normal.
Do you think yes, that's what I mean. Like, at this point, you're Victor.
Yeah.
You're tired. He's hot. He's hard. No, when someone says bite on your penis, because like, bite on it.
Yeah.
Bite on it.
Now, bite on it and bite it, I think, are two different
through
things.
it.
But there's no way. There's no
That
way he
preposition is really important.
He does not start with bite my dick off. You know it starts with
Kiss it.
You ever see Corn on the Cob? You ever see American film? Corn on the Cob, American film, American Blue Jean? Right? And then he goes like, yeah, me know, I'll know. Me know.
Matrix,
Matrix, yeah, Matrix. Nibble on the outside. Nibble on the outside. And so it starts with like, ha, ha, ha. He's like this. He's like, oh, yeah. A little bit more. Now. You know, American, big man, big gun, big buckle. Going over to Texas, big hat, right? Just bite into it now, like a hot dog, like a Frankfurter, like they do. You know? And then, and then the guy has to go like, what? Like, no, dude, I'll suck the hell out of this. Yeah. Like, I will suck this dick.
That's what I'm here for, bro.
Here, dude. I'm here, man. I've been probably sucking.
Yes, but how many licks does it take to get to the center?
Center of a what? Center of a huh? But yeah, it's got to be really tough. And then, because the guy, like, because 10,000 Deutschmarks is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it was a negotiation. 2,000, 4,000, 7,000, 10,000.
10,000, bite it off!
Yeah.
I probably said yes at first, and then, you know.
And then you realize it's not just saying it.
Well, that's the thing. Is it a cop?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, the cops go in there. How fucking sick.
You know, you have to tell me if you're undercover.
Yeah, the guy's already gotten full BDSM for hours. And then he says, bite your dick off. And he's like, this is the police. I'm going to arrest you. Jesus Christ.
What investigative reporter found Victor?
Yeah.
Well, Victor declined. So Bernd turned to the internet in the hopes that he could find someone willing to go all the way. This pathological need was so strong that Bernd was actually the one who contacted Armin Meiwes. After seeing Armin's post looking for a young, well-built man who wanted to be eaten, Bernd replied to see if Armin was truly serious about the offer. The only thing Bernd fibbed about was that he told Armin he was 36 when he was actually 43.
And we do have a little snippet of their conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, because it was actually released in Harper's, which is fucked to begin with. Where he sorts of, they do a lot of play. And at first it talks about, because he's going as Anthrophagus, and Bernd is going as Cater 99. Now, we know that Anthrophagus, he was talking about how he would like to... Anthrophagus. He would like to taste his own blood. He would poke himself in the needle, taste his own blood, and he said it was delicious. But then it did get more advanced.
Cater 99. I hope you won't wilt. That you can really see it through without a problem.
Anthrophagus! To bite into your penis will certainly not be easy. Living flesh is somewhat more resistant than fried. But one thing is certain, our dream will be fulfilled.
But there's not so much in it as there is in muscle.
Yeah, but the penis is principally a spongy material filled with blood.
For both our sakes, I hope that's true.
Hit it, Rob.
And so, after he and Armin agreed that Friday, March 9th, 2001 would be the day, Bernd spent the preceding weeks wiping his hard drives of anything that might lead police or his boyfriend Renee to Armin.
Because a part of their conversations were obviously Armin being like, what his real issues were, which is, I don't want to kill somebody against their will. And Bernd says, like, great, love that, with you. And then he's like, my main issue truly is that, like, how do I do this without getting in trouble? I'm definitely going to get in trouble. It's why I didn't want to do this in the first place. And essentially, Bernd is like, that's why we got to make sure that there ain't nothing left of me, baby.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to go bones and all, much like the Timothy Chalamet Ding Dong movie, which is actually pretty good.
It was fine.
I liked it.
Well, Bernd then wrote a will leaving everything to Renee as his only clue that he was probably dead and not just missing after he left home on March 9th, knowing full well that if all went according to plan, if Armin were to truly wipe every vestige of Bernd's physical presence off this earth, Renee would never have any idea what really happened. And it wasn't just like covering Armin's ass. It was also a part of Bernd's wishes, his fantasy, that he be completely erased from Earth.
He wanted
Marcus,
to disappear.
how would you get rid of the bones?
How would I get rid of the bones? You know what? I was actually thinking about this, and he talked a little bit about like grinding the bones down. And one thing that I've never figured out, why no one has ever really done this, you know, a Dremel. Yeah. Like why don't you just get a Dremel and just little by little just shave all the bones down? It is a lot of time.
You gotta wear an N95 for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of noise.
It's a fair amount of noise, but it's not as much time as you think. Remember, I used to work with bones all the time. I used to shave them up for the Patreon. Not as much time as you'd think.
I would do, honestly, what I would do is, if I'm already cooking them, I'd boil up as many bones as I could in big batches. I'd boil them up into kind of, honestly, sort of a broth to soften them up as much as I possibly could. Mm-hmm. And then, I would probably break them in little sections, and then slowly but surely grind them up into dust, and then you litter them out into the forest.
Well, you got to be careful when you're littering it. You don't want a situation. Who was the guy in Indiana again?
Herb Baumeister.
Herb Baumeister. He broke them up pretty good, but he still got caught.
Honestly, it's probably best to put them out in the city then.
Yeah.
You take it to Berlin, man. You take it to the local club in Berlin. Those people don't know what they take. These guys they don't know what they're snorting. And you just fucking start selling that shit as fucking yayo. And they ask me like, oh, what kind of cocaine is this? And you can be like, oh, it's my brand new, it's called Jürgen. Yeah. Like it's amazing.
You sell it at a vampire club in Berlin.
Yeah, done. That's huge.
Yeah, go on a Rhine River cruise and start, dumping them.
Now, after Bernd and Armin met at the train station and had their immediate moment of connection,
kiss me in the milky twilight. Just to seeing each other that first time, that must have been so romantic.
Mm-hmm. They fell into planning how Bernd's slaughter was going to go, step by step, almost from the minute they got into Armin's car. But while Armin was understandably focused on getting to the cannibalism as soon as possible, Bernd was more interested in the castration aspect and the following action of not only having...
imagine like just one piece not being ground out just enough. Someone tries to snort it, but like it's like a sharp piece. So it ends up like stabbing you in the nose somewhere.
Having his penis eaten, but for him to also eat his own penis.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
It's in the contract.
That's what he wants. That's the job.
That's the writer.
Yep.
Yeah.
We know this was the negotiation. The negotiation begins now.
Oh, I'm like,
Because
when am I
just like
missing on the
Armin
horses?
needed the
It's
person
because
he
like
ate to
certain
consent
parts
to
of
the
the
act
pool, I think
fully,
we might not be able to
Baron needed
see.
someone else to
So
castrate
annoying.
and
That's why
destroy
they have a
him to
button for you to
fulfill
turn
his
it on and
fantasy.
off.
He must have
Oh.
read the order of negotiation.
Yeah. Doing it himself,
get back
it
to that
seemed,
then.
would be no better than masturbation. It's, it's like how you can't give yourself a massage.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
It's
Yeah.
so aggravating because I try and it
Yeah.
just doesn't work.
Doesn't work at all.
No, and it even works less with the cut off, disembodied hands of a dead woman. Like it's just not the same. I flop them and I slap them.
It doesn't work.
Nothing.
Just put them on the ground, roll around a bunch, nothing works.
Nothing's not doing it.
Well, furthermore, Baron seemed to see this entire scenario as a sort of reverse domination, which played with Armin's intense need to eat him. As we'll see, Baron was in charge of every moment leading up to his eventual demise, even goading Armin along when Armin faltered. In fact, Armin never wanted to participate in any sort of conscious castration or anything that felt as if he was hurting Baron unnecessarily. After all, Armin wouldn't torture a pig before slaughtering it for meat, and he saw that Baron's death, in practice at least, was the same thing.
I feel like we're like at the DNC, like arguing about different forms of leftism. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it's like. It's them all fighting on the inside about what does it mean? Who is the more pure cannibal?
Listen, I'm a good guy.
I don't want to do this, buddy. No, because this is where it gets. This is why this case has caught so much interest and why everybody's really like,
Of course.
honestly, there's so many people interested in this because of this the center of their relationship is so interesting. They did sort of find the perfect quote unquote the give and take because it really like Armin did not want to hurt him. He was really anti the idea of it's what his whole thing was before about how like I wish I could just get the meat. I just want the meat. And it's hard to just get the meat. It's actually
It's impossible.
It's impossible. It's very, very, very difficult to get.
For such a black and white issue, it's incredibly murky.
Yes, this is hot. No, this story is incredibly murky. Like, I mean, it even like it goes into issues of like consent and like
And
like
euthanasia.
Euthanasia. Like who deserve? Like who can do that? It's very, very, very fascinating. And how their like fantasies like match up kinda, but not really. Like, because since Baron was in charge of everything from beginning to end, he made a stipulation before they even met that none of this could happen unless Armin agreed to castrate him first before killing him. And Armin, still used to taking orders, just like from his mother, he agreed.
It also was his that was a part of the game. That of the negotiation and all of the allowances are part of the game. Armin was obsessed with, remember we talked about last episode, the idea that he wants to be chosen. He wants to be needed.
Yeah.
He wants someone to need and want him to do a thing for him. He wants the meat to say, eat me. And they only do it in the Arby's commercials. It doesn't really work like that. Eat me. Eat me. Like, he's desperate for the thing to go, eat me. And the thing is going, eat me. But now Byrne is saying, eat me. But first things first, the dick, it must go. You know what I mean? Like, and so he's like, he has to do it. He's like, all right.
Yeah, because it's a different sort of like fetish, because like Armin wants to see another man as livestock. He wants to see him as a pig.
But also in love with him.
Yeah.
Wanting it. He wants to the pig has to want to die.
Now, that's not to say that Bernd was a selfish lover. He had fully complied with Armin's request to fast for the 2 days prior to their meeting because, as Bernd put it, he wanted to be the best meal Armin ever had.
Rise from your grave.
Yay. Okay.
Now, on the way home from the train station, Armin and Bernd picked up painkillers and a bottle of schnapps as a part of their plan. After the castration, Bernd would take a cocktail of sleeping pills, cough medicine, and schnapps. Then Armin would stab Bernd's throat to bleed him out.
Awesome.
Yeah. After
Awesome.
fucking thumbs up, bro.
Good plan.
After Baron's body was drained, Armin would butcher the body in such a way where the maximum amount of Baron's body could be consumed, while the inedible parts like the skin, bones, and innards would be destroyed completely.
You don't think you can eat the skin?
No, absolutely.
Char it up, you know. I've eaten some pork skin.
I mean,
We've
we've all eaten pork rinds. I mean, they're fantastic. I don't think pork rinds, like that's a very southern thing. I don't think that made it over to Germany.
Side stories, lpotl@gmail.com. Do we believe that human skin is something that can chicharron?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, what if it's like chicken
And as we know,
skin? Like, I like
the
the chain
whole
when we have
thing
like
would be filmed
drumsticks.
on videotape from beginning to end, so Armin could relive the experience whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
Now, if you're feeling especially wild and woolly today, a couple of extraordinarily graphic stills that are said to be from the video can be found from a quick Google search, although I can neither confirm nor deny their authenticity. All I know is that I couldn't find an alternative explanation as to where these stills are from if they're not from Armin's video. Nobody's out saying like, oh, that's from this
Like I'm doing
movie,
this, it's
or
like I could
it's
just
from
use
like,
that.
you know, it's a
Just we'd have to move it
or it's just
around.
a drawing or whatever. They look very, very real.
Do we have them? Can I see them?
The pictures are in the book.
Like, do we have?
These are all in the book.
You have
too.
them on you?
Okay.
I was reading a book on
He's
it.
wearing
so
a chef's hat.
he is. That's
cute.
one. Yeah, that's more of a funny kind of a character thing there. But the meat laying on its side there, and the dude slit in half.
put it
Yeah,
down?
that's
Oh.
That's a dude slit in half.
That's a dude
Yeah.
split in half.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
See, humans are just meat. That's kind of the worst part
And the
about
head
this
is
story.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the head is actually in the corner watching them. We'll get there.
Yeah. And then what's that? And then what's that there at the bottom? Is that a
That's
leg?
an arm and a chest.
That's that's an arm. You can see his nipple there.
Oh. Yeah.
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 I mean,
you
honestly,
still have no problems with this, but you almost threw up from the chorizo video.
the chorizo video is fucking
I
disgusting.
can't believe that you were looking at an actual human
If
corpse.
he was eating it and throwing it up, I would have a problem with that.
To know what we're talking about, please go see the latest Marcus Mandate on the latest episode of Last Stream on the Left, which I think is now posted to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, it seems like Baron's desires came not only from a sexual urge, but also from a deep well of self-hatred. It's as if the
All right, you can take him down, Rob.
It's like, okay, get rid
Take
of
down
it.
the pitches, please. Take him down.
Oh, I made it my desktop. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Like I said, his desires also came from a deep well of self-hatred, as if the governor on his Freudian death drive had popped a gasket while also becoming fused with his sex drive.
It's a bad combo.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, man.
For example, when Armin asked Baron why he wanted to do this, I mean, really, why? Baron said that it was because he hated himself, hated his sexuality, and hated his extremely high sex drive. He called himself a worthless piece of meat and bones, adding that he'd just had it. But even though his need to be consumed came from a very negative place, the hours Baron and Armin shared before Baron was killed sounds like the nervous beginnings of an intense relationship that has begun online, then suddenly jumps to real life. It feels like an episode, like, have you ever seen Before the 90 Days, the 90 Day Fiancé spinoff?
Yes.
It's basically a show about online dating where, like, people see, like, you know, they
Yes.
start meeting each other on the internet and then they meet for the first time. It feels a lot like that.
Yeah, if you ever have one of those things where you're calling, you've never met, but you're calling each other like Pookie Bud or doing that, you're being
Yeah.
really, really romantic.
Hello,
on the
my
internet.
love. Yes, my love.
Yes, my love. And then you meet in real life, and then you got to meet like Burns' fucking co-workers. You know what I mean? And that's always like a problem. And you got to meet Armin's mom because Armin's mom doesn't like you. And you know, you gotta
Armin's
deal with
mom
it.
lives in the closet.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got too many guinea pigs in the house.
Yeah, you know, all that dumb shit. Where it is because I guess also when Burns came in the room, one of the first things he did is that he took off all of his clothes and he says, "'Cause I want you to admire your dinner," which is again, it's very in a very bad way.
Yeah.
It's like
It's bad, but he seemed like
it's
he was having a
date.
great time.
Yeah, it's romantic. Yeah, and then he's just sitting there going, like just so excited.
Put a
And that's
bad
really
word, but I
kind of
don't
the
want to turn
crux of it.
around.
Yeah.
Is that the entire time, this all happens over the course of, it seems, about 14 hours.
This is the Notebook.
Yeah, it really does seem like Baron the entire time is loving it.
He's in love.
Like, he is absolutely, like, this is what he's always wanted. But, on the other hand, but you also sometimes get that with people who just finally decide that they're going to, die by suicide. Is that, like, the days, and they're like, oh, he was so, he seemed to be fine. It's because he's finally made the decision.
Man, just thinking about Renee. Like, it's already bad enough when your significant other cheats on you.
Yeah. He wanted gone so bad, he went and became somebody's dinner. Yeah. Like, that's worse than going, like, imagine if he had went straight. That would almost be worse.
Once they got back to the house, Armin gave Bernd a tour of the farmhouse and made him coffee using the fine china meant only for special occasions that had not been touched since Voltraud's death.
I must tell you something, Bernd. You will find this most exciting. I haven't used these plates since my blessed mother's funeral. And he's like, awesome. Yeah, if you're in his house, if you're in that Tudor house, it's only, nothing is not served on a dead mother's items.
After coffee, they retired to the bedroom, where they had sex and explored each other's bodies.
Lick, give you the lick. This is salty. This is sweet. You were down here. I kiss your feet.
So they were being clean, though, the whole time, and he wasn't allowed to eat anything, but then he gave him a bunch of coffee, and they're just going to make him fucking shit.
Hey, buddy, he's got to stay awake to get his dick cut off. It was a long train trip. And they're really very distracted, so I imagine he's very tired.
This, of course, is when events left 90 Day Fiancé territory and entered into something closer to a chapter from the book Apocalypse Culture. Yeah. Armin began asking for reassurance again and again that Bernd wanted to be eaten.
You can get out of it anytime. You want to go. Here's the pot. Do you want it? Does this look delicious to you?
Safe. Seems oddly responsible.
He is very responsible with this from beginning to end. And Bernd, of course, told Armin that he not only wanted to be eaten, he needed to be eaten.
Look at these chicken legs. Look at these sausage arms.
They then fell into a conversation not unlike two men who share an off-kilter hobby, bemoaning the fact that cannibalism was illegal while discussing their favorite cannibals. Bernd's favorite was Colorado's own Alfred Packer, who ate the remains of 5 compatriots after getting stranded in the San Juan Mountains in the winter of 1874.
America boy.
Yeah.
See, America's still inspiring people across the world.
Even old school Americans.
Yeah, you remember Cannibal the Musical?
Yeah, that's
Alfred Packer. Yeah.
He might be my favorite.
The sun is full as a baked potato.
Horse is a horse, of course.
Exactly what I mean.
When I say it's a spadoinkle day.
And this is their biggest spadoinkle day. This is Bernd's spadoinkle day. Yep. He's so excited about today. I'm the happy meal.
Let's build a snowman.
I love that.
We can make him tall. We can make him not so tall. I love that fucking movie. Well, the conversation about cannibalism turned romantic quickly. Armin remembered that he looked into Bernd's eyes and said, quote,
I want to stab you to death, gut you, and carve you up. Then I'll eat you.
And before long,
from soup to poop. That's what I make you. Oh, you started as a man, but soon you'll be a little fart.
It definitely gives new meaning to the phrase soup to nuts.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Well, before long, they decided that it was time to get down to business.
Oh, yeah.
They made their way to the slaughter room.
Oh, yeah. It's time to get funky.
You're so excited.
So you're incredibly excited about this. You're convinced that this is like a romantic getaway.
It is.
Instead of like like a man is like committing suicide and you're like, Jamaica, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take you to Bermuda. This isn't a trip to the fucking Bahamas.
Yeah. Don't you want to eat the man? Whoa, whoa. Don't be scared. I just see all of his, like all of the haunted, or like the weird dumb shit in his mom's house, all singing, like anthropomorphized, like wigs.
The
and
Beauty
like,
and the Beast. Yeah, you got a little teacup and everything.
You're like, ooh. He's finally found love. The rose will be complete.
Once he eats every inch of him, I will not be a clock anymore.
I can finally go back to being a full-grown pedophile man. Yeah, and I can go back to what I like to do, which is ruining the lives of children instead of being this stupid clock.
Some candlelight.
It's my buddy the candelabra. He's also used to be a pedophile. Yeah.
Well, they made their way to the slaughter room where Armin turned on the video camera. That, by the way, is why we know so much about this story and what transpired between Armin and Bernd.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of their interactions that day were taped, and not just the nasty parts. In the beginning, Armin and Bernd sat in the slaughter room and looked at the shadows the lighting in the room created on the walls. And like two kids staring at clouds, they called out what animals they saw and the forms created by the meat hooks and various other accoutrements that would soon be used to butcher Bernd.
Tell me, what does this remind you of, Bernd?
Is it a seahorse?
No. Guess again.
Hookfish.
Yes. You're funny. What does this look like, Bernd? Yeah.
It looks like your
It's like, yeah, it is.
And so, after just a few hours of getting to know you time and sporadic sexual contact,
bing, bing. Bing, 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 sweet touch.
they decided that it was time to begin the event that both of them had wanted for almost their entire lives. Now, naturally, Bernd's castration fantasy had to come first, so he looked Armin in the eyes and told him that he wanted to give him an appetizer for the feast ahead. In other words, it was finally time for Armin to bite and chew Bernd's penis off his body until nothing remained, not even a stump.
And you know, Armin was definitely nervous because he didn't want to fuck it up.
No, he didn't want to do it.
No, he had a hard time. I get it. It's hard to rip a penis off with your mouth.
And so Armin knelt before Bernd's extraordinarily erect penis and opened his mouth while Bernd shouted on camera, "Bite into it! Please! Just bite it! Hand!" But when it came time... when it came time for Armin to do what Bernd asked of him, he found that he didn't have the stomach for it, so to speak.
I do the. You were telling me about the corn nibble before. Can I start with the little nibble?
Yeah, because he's more of a butcher.
Yeah, no,
He just wants the meat.
He just wants the meat. It's not like hurting someone else is not in his pathology at all. And frustrated, Bernd continued to scream, saying, "No, you have to do it! Damn it! You can't stop now! Bite it!"
I am biting. I am biting, Bernd. This is our first fight. Are you yelling at me? Are you yelling at the situation? You know what they say? Couples need to not fight each other. Fight the problem.
Well, at that point, Bernd got physically aggressive, grabbing Armin's hair so he could force Armin's head back towards his penis. Now, Armin was able to give him a gentle bite, but even while Bernd urged him on, Armin could not bite hard enough to even draw blood. That's when Bernd fell into despair and decided, this just isn't going to happen. He's like, "Armin, you're too nice. You're too weak. I should have realized this earlier. I'm going to go."
This is like one of those. This is like when you've been dating somebody for 6 or 7 years, and you think they're like, "Oh, we're going on this big fancy vacation. He's gonna ask me to marry me." This whole time, he's gonna ask me to marry me, and then each time he like kneels over you. Oh, you think that's gonna be the moment? He doesn't do it.
No.
And then you're finally in the last dinner, and he brings you a little box of jewelry, and you open it up. And it's a fucking necklace. It's not the. That's a feeling. It's just the. You're just never gonna commit. You're just never gonna be a real man.
Oh, when I'm down there, I'll just wash your knees.
My knees are clean.
Well, shame and disappointment filled both of them. Bernd weakly said he just wanted to feel his penis being mutilated. That was it. Is that really too much to ask?
No, it's
really
not.
not.
No, it's not. Your partner is like, I mean, what you give is what you get back.
And for the first time, these two men found that their fantasies were somewhat at odds, and there seemed to be no way to solve it. Their fantasies were just different. I mean, for Bernd, it was all about being destroyed. He hated himself. He hated his sexuality. He wanted himself gone off the face of the earth. Eating was just like a part of it.
Yeah.
That was how he could see himself being completely and utterly destroyed. But for Armin, he wanted a pig.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this
He
was
wanted meat.
Yeah,
I
he wanted
see
meat.
Byrne as Willem Dafoe and Armin as Christoph Waltz.
Yep.
Yeah, it tracks.
That's exactly it. That is exactly it. And so, after Baron decided that it just wasn't going to work, he asked Armin to give him a ride to the train station so he could buy a ticket back to Berlin. Always the pleaser, Armin turned off the video recorder and drove Baron to the train station in silence.
I know you were saying that you don't want to listen to anything, but would you want to listen to the Shins?
It's just it's a mood, and it's the mood I'm in right
That's
now.
the mood I'm in right now.
I picture da da da.
I love this song. Oh, I wish they would change the national anthem to the song.
Or they're just sitting there driving in silence, and all of a sudden on the radio is 99 and Luftballons. And they just start singing along together. But just after Baron bought his ticket, Armin pled his case and convinced Baron to give him another chance.
Take me in, baby.
Yeah, saying that he could absolutely castrate him and eat his penis while he was still conscious, if only he'd let him prove it.
In your eyes, I see your eyes, I feel complete.
And let him, he did. The compromise they came to was that Baron would take a ton of sleeping pills and cough syrup to make himself pass out. And while he was unconscious, Armin would be able to psych himself up so he could do what Baron asked. And that would have to be good enough for Baron.
It'd probably be easier to bite off a flaccid penis than a hard one, too.
Well, it's no longer biting, it's cutting now.
That's
Yeah.
the compromise.
Yeah. But once they got back to the house at around 6 p.m., and Baron washed down 20 sleeping pills with a bottle of cough syrup and half a bottle of schnapps, all on an empty stomach,
He's lucky he lived.
he was still awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's-
think Baron had a bit of a substance abuse problem.
Yeah.
Me think so as well.
Yeah.
Because Byrne took all of this down and still got to almost totally enjoy getting his penis cut off. And that was not the game.
So, Baron ended up getting what he wanted, and he was led to the slaughter room and laid down on the bed as Armin prepared for the castration. Now, Armin knew that he couldn't bring himself to chew the penis off, but he figured he could probably cut it off with a knife.
Yeah.
So, after grabbing a kitchen knife and a cutting board, Armin
It's good to make sure you protect the table. These are nice tables.
Yeah,
These are everything's antiques in this.
Armin turned on the video camera as Baron became erect with anticipation.
Just something about like a guy tied to a chair.
He's not tied, he's just fucking...
I know, he's just, he
Yeah.
is just sitting there, just naked in a chair. And then Armin comes out with his chef's hat on, and he's got the kitchen knife. And just, there's something about a guy like smiling and going, "Whoop," like just sitting in a chair like I've never done this.
As soon as the camera comes on, he's ready to perform.
I've
Yeah.
never seen, he said, I'm ready to fuck. I'm ready to fuck now.
But again, Armin was unable to sever it, but not for lack of trying. Armin swung his knife down to chop off Baron's penis,
Yeah.
but it bounced off because the knife wasn't sharp enough.
Penis is
Oh,
so strong.
bruh.
As we know, there's nothing more dangerous than a dull knife.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Once it gets in, you got to pull it out.
Yep.
So after Baron screamed at him to go get a sharper knife, Armin tried again.
I'm sorry.
This
Okay,
time,
okay. This one will do. This one will do.
This time, however, Baron got exactly what he wanted. As Armin swung the knife down successfully again and again on the tough penile tissue, Baron viggled, screamed, and literally squealed like a pig.
Oh, so it's hard to cut a cock off.
It's not easy. No, it's tough tissue.
The thing is that you
Is there
really
cartilage in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
honestly feel like it's a lot about will.
Yeah.
Because Lorena Bobbitt did it with scissors. Scissors are actually much easier to do it. Sorry.
Garden
I'm
shears,
just going to
right?
get into this really deeply.
That's what the show is.
I feel that the key is that
It's what they're here for.
the
Yeah.
way he was doing it, and I feel like this might not be an exaggeration, he kind of sort of did it when he covered his eyes. I went like, oh, and he was just kind of chopping
Which
at the
is
dick.
so much worse than fucking doing it right.
Well, I
Yeah.
think you're supposed to, honestly, pull it taut, then go at it. Like,
Yeah.
you really need to pull it tight and then go at the very, very base.
Yeah, but if it's really hard, just pulling it out, it's not going to be good. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get like 2 fingers and press it down on the cutting board, and then I would say a serrated knife is going to be a lot better than just a regular
grips.
kitchen knife.
Man, Armin,
Like a bread knife.
he prepared so much.
Yep.
But he didn't sharpen the knife.
Yep.
I think,
he
honestly,
did so much work. He put plastic down. He
let's talk
fucked up
about
the
this.
videotape. Like,
there is like it's called the gaps in the lead from fantasy to reality.
Yeah.
and this is what you're
That's
talking
true.
about is a
Yeah.
thing that's going to come up later on, because right now this is at the very, very peak of a very esoteric idea that they thought would never happen.
Yeah.
And so, yes, up to this point, the sexual game has really just led up to, and in Armin's mind, yes, he's been fantasizing about butchering a body, but he's never really thought about the A to Z of how do I get to that point. And so now we're in it. We're in the reality of it. And it's like kind of what Ed Kemper talked about. Ed Kemper said that one of the things that first changed his mind about once he first killed somebody was that he thought that killing somebody was really easy. He thought that you'd stab somebody, they fall over, and they die.
Yeah.
But humans are bags of liquid. So
Yeah.
you stab somebody full of a bunch of holes, it actually takes a really long time for you to die, like longer than you think. And it's more physically difficult than you think. And so that changed his mind. So now Armin's living it.
Yeah.
And so what he gets to do from now on is tell everybody what he's learned along the way.
yeah.
Well, finally, Armin managed to sever Bernd's penis completely, and as blood gushed from the open wound, Bernd looked down in ecstasy, having finally realized his dream after all these years. So after Armin wrapped Bernd's lower body in bandages, they rushed downstairs together with Bernd's severed penis so they could engage in the second half of Bernd's ultimate fantasy. And yeah, I imagine them both like giddy little boys that are kind of
No!
like they're doing something in secret. You know, they're doing like, and Bernd's waddling along with his, diaper of fucking bandages.
Yeah.
And they're just having a great time. It's like, it has the same feeling as a couple of boys like at a sleepover.
Yeah, I feel like
and
they're
mom and dad's gone.
Yeah.
They're about to eat too much Pizza Hut and drink
so
too much soda.
Oh, yeah. We used to do the pass out game. I'm sure it's similar to that.
it's literally the pass out game.
Now, Armin cut the penis tissue in half.
Oh,
and-
did we never give any warnings about this episode? Or
I mean, they knew what was coming.
yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
but,
I mean-
whatever. You know.
I mean, it's the cannibal of Rottenberg. I don't know if you didn't expect it to be fucking nasty. I don't know what you're here for.
I don't know.
Yeah. You want to give a trigger warning?
Hey, just so you know, we might have some alternative imagery in this series. That's it. That's the warning.
Armin cut the penis tissue in half and tossed.
There's some stuff in there. There's some in there.
That's the last moment for a trigger warning.
The very last possible.
And he tossed each half on its own plate. And you know what I didn't realize, and what I didn't really think about from here? Do you think like one guy got the shaft and the other guy got the head, or do you think he sliced it?
Sliced down the
hot dog.
middle.
Sliced down the middle.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's what I would do too.
Yeah. Is he a good cook? Armin?
Well, I mean, he knows how to follow a recipe.
But yeah, but he fucked up this dick.
Well, I don't think anyone can really cook dick. That's
I
the whole
actually
point.
have seen cooked dick. That Japanese artist that cooked his own dick.
Well,
he
that's
did it, but there was enough of that dick to serve, which shows that he did it correctly. And I'm pretty certain he braised it, which is a lot of times that honestly they talked about this. This is very similar to eating tripe. It
Yeah.
has to be cooked in liquid. It has to be
Yeah.
cooked slowly, and the cartilage needs to be broken down. If you're eating dick, it has to be in a
Slow
ragu.
cooker.
Yeah.
Yeah, ragu. Well, Baron was so excited that he tried gobbling it up raw. But both of them soon discovered that penises are not meant to be eaten, at least when they're prepared in this fashion.
You know, Armin felt vindicated. He's like, see, it's bite through it.
You keep always your back penis striving. Telling me, telling me what I'm doing wrong and doing right. All right, now you look at it. No, penises are not meant to be eaten. They're meant to be respected. All right, so you remember that.
They're meant to be sucked and fucked.
Penises aren't meant to be eaten. They're meant to be Supreme Court judges. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I got a little Kavanaugh myself.
And so Armin tossed it in a hot pan with some oil, garlic, and pepper to make it more palatable. But that's when he found the tissue wasn't meant to be pan-fried.
No.
Because the penis halves shriveled in the frying pan and turned black.
Like a shrimp.
Oh,
Both men tried chewing the charred remains of Baron's penis, but finally gave up and threw them away. And really, your training as a chef here really is coming in handy.
It really is. But you know, like, to be honest, and if I was them, I wouldn't be disappointed because at least you got to chew on it. You did it. And I feel like more so, like, they have to understand that this really wasn't about eating the penis. This was about the night they got to spend together.
Yeah.
Also, what do they think was going to happen with a penis? It's not going to, it's not going to stay hard.
It's just exactly what I'm saying. I think that there's a fantasy and now they're seeing what's really coming out of it.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, if you look at their conversation, they very much knew all the ins and outs of like what penis tissue was like.
But they still kind of thought in a way that he'd go like, and he'd rip it off like a dog, and it would blood splurt, and it would come out really hard. I know, again, this is difficult, and that the penis would sort of stay hard.
Yeah.
I actually do think that the issue was that he was hard in the first place. I think that if he was flaccid, they would have actually been easier for them because the sponge wouldn't have been inflated and then have all the blood drop out of it.
I think flaccid would be harder.
Side stories, lpotl@gmail.com.
And you think about like someone's biceps, like after they work out, like they get inflamed and pumped and they're hard and shit. It seems like so much easier to just rip off your biceps.
It's not. I actually think it would be more difficult. Actually.
Okay, well, we can maybe...
Semantics. Semantics.
Yeah, these are semantics. That's for certain.
But always wanted to see the bright side.
just wanna make
Armin
sure we're
tried
making
cheering
it's all the
Baron up by
horse-related
saying,
stuff,
quote,
so.
Maybe we can eat your eggs for breakfast.
he did actually tell them that. Eggs meaning his balls.
Oh, and
yeah,
that.
testicles.
I miss these.
So now that the whole castration thing was said and done, Baron sort of settled into his own impending death. Armin drew him a bath in his grimy old bathtub, and Baron lowered himself in, quickly turning the brownish water red with the blood flowing from the gaping wound where his penis used to be. This, however, did not bother Baron at all. Almost like a child, he would amuse himself by fiddling with the hole to keep the fatal flow of blood coming. And all the while, he wanted Armin to assure him that he would eat every part of his body, and whatever he didn't eat, he had to promise to grind it up so no traces would be left of Bernd Brandis.
Hey, Armin, does it look like without my dick? That's my ball so sad. Does it look like my ball so lonely?
I'm surprised you didn't go into shock or anything.
No, buddy. He wasn't shocked. He wanted this. I think it's because he wanted it, and this is a literal fantasy. He was experiencing sexual pleasure as it went through, according to him. But it didn't sound like it. But it did. But he said it was.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is that it's not just Armin saying that this is what he told me. It's videotaped.
Yeah.
Like
They brought the camera into the bathroom?
No, it's just the conversations they had.
No,
like,
they videotaped everything. He videotaped as much as he could.
Yeah.
And they did the butchering, and then he did talk with Bernd, and then he also did like a weird little video diary, and he had journals.
I wonder if how was it lit? I guess we saw a picture
He
of
had
it.
lighting.
It looked pretty good. Yeah. Probably on a tripod.
It was bright, yeah. It was definitely on a tripod, yeah. No, he didn't just, put it on the table.
Technically, it was easier to light with the VHS cameras.
Oh, nice.
Now, after about an hour in the bath, Baron passed out, and Armin thought that it would finally be his turn to fulfill his fantasy. But it would take a while for Baron to finally bleed out. After a few hours in the bathtub, Armin moved Baron to the bed in the slaughter room. There, Baron continued to bleed out, while Armin nervously read a Star Trek novel in another room.
Do you think that you'd be able to talk with him about Deep Space Nine? Are you happy that he's a Trekkie? Because anybody who reads Star Trek novelizations.
Well, he's reading Star Trek novelizations. You know what? That's funny. I forget that it's like 2001. So yeah, it could be a Deep Space Nine novelization. I hear some of those are actually pretty good.
We should write him a letter.
They probably enjoy to get a letter.
Dear,
What'd you think of Picard?
dear Armin,
Yeah, I don't want to
Is-
talk about
is the
penis.
Dominion
Over
War
there.
the best Star Trek storyline ever, or are you wrong?
Yeah, dude. Fucking, we should fucking harass him.
Yeah.
With Star Trek, a fucking troll.
Fuck yeah, bro. What do you think about Dominion War? Is it the best or is it the fucking best?
Yeah, he's like, Dominion War can fucking eat a dick.
Yeah, I know what that's like as well. Which means I love it.
The founders versus the Borg. Oh, fuck you. The Borg are cooler. Fuck you, Armin.
I was reading this crazy version. It was Star Trek and it was absolutely crazy. It's amazing. It's Captain Kirk and Spock, they were in showers together. And all they did was like, it was so funny what they did. It was crazy. It was just like, you guys are being crazy. And they started like kissing and having sex with each other. And I was like, you guys are being funny. This is the funniest shit. Holy shit. They started fucking and I was like, this is hilarious.
Well, after another half hour, Bernd asked to go to the bathroom to urinate. And no, I have no idea how that worked. But after help,
It's like a fire hydrant. So it's like when they kick over a fire hydrant and it just starts going everywhere.
yeah, I mean, maybe he just pointed him. He probably just pointed him towards the bathtub. Actually,
Yeah, well,
And
he
just
was
went
already in it.
Yeah,
No,
he
he's
was.
on the
He had
bed
been
now.
moved to the bed.
I don't
and so
know.
he had to help him back to
I
the
feel
bathroom.
like at this point, we're just conjecturing.
Yeah, I don't have facts here.
But after helping Baron to the bathroom and back, Baron told Armin that he was sure to pass out soon, and when he did, Armin should slash his throat and finally end his life. Armin agreed, and when Baron finally lost consciousness around 3:30 a.m., Armin changed into the slaughter outfit he'd prepared: Wellington boots, dark blue pajamas, and his mother's bedsheet wrapped around him like an apron, which is certainly a statement, but not one that I can figure out.
Yeah, it's layered.
Yeah, he wanted her to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be so proud. I knew you'd be impenetrably weird. That's why I raised you this way.
Please supervise.
After turning the video camera on, Armin walked up to Baron and kissed him before saying a prayer. He then pulled out a 7-inch knife and stabbed Baron's throat several times. It had been 9.5 hours since Baron's penis had been cut off, and it had been less than a day since they'd finally met in person.
Babies having babies.
That doesn't
really-
make any fucking sense at all.
It's hard, man. You can't rush this shit.
They are two men in their 40s.
Wise men say, only fools rush in.
There we
They're
go.
older than
Okay.
us.
Yeah, and they did rush in.
Yes,
less
that's what
than
I'm saying.
24 hours.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Now, after finally killing another human being, Armin was filled with emotions, and none of them were good. First, he was repulsed at himself. Then he despised Baron for consenting and pushing.
You make me do this.
Yeah. Then he felt anger, furious about how much he had needed to fulfill his fantasy and at how he'd been unable to ignore it. And finally, of course, came guilt. But after all that passed, he moved on to the next emotion, horny.
So there we go. 15 minutes, and I'm back to horny. Yeah, very good. I got up for a second there. I was worried about myself. I thought that maybe I had lost it. I had lost that almond juice.
A second, maybe all of this had been for nothing.
Yeah, and
but
now
then I looked down and I was hard as a Dickens.
Boing, boing. Time for daddies. Dinner time.
Crystal?
This is that quick. Just, wait a second. Burgers and meatballs with ribs and squash. And we've got all sorts of things. And you've got custard and cakes.
He's turned into Homer Simpson.
Oh,
Well, Armin was filled with satisfaction because he believed that Baron's flesh would survive inside him after he'd assimilated it, just like Armin had been imagining ever since he became obsessed with the Sandy Ricks character on Flipper. And so, when
I was
you
wondering how you're going to work
Flipper back into it. No, gotta get. We're gonna talk Armin Mivas. You gotta mention Flipper every single episode.
If Sandy Ricks is still alive and does cons, can someone, for the love of fucking Satan, bring this up to him. If there is anybody from Flipper still alive, you
Is
have
Luke
to know that
Halpin
the
still
crime-
alive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's still. Oh wow, he's from Astoria.
Oh my God, dude! We gotta let him fucking know. Luke Halpin has to know that he inspired Armin Mivas.
Someone
has to tell him.
Someone has told him.
No way! I think that they have kept this from the guy that. Oh God, now he's making out with Flipper.
But
Get that disgusting picture out of there. What is this,
What are
pornography?
you talking about? That's fine. It's a boy loves a dolphin.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You
The
never.
dolphin. He doesn't know what the dolphin's thinking.
Well, you never had pets growing up, so you don't know.
I
that-
had many pets. I had dogs.
you had dogs?
You guys killed the hamster.
Yeah.
No, but we had a dog that lived a long time. I had plenty of pets.
You had dogs?
Yeah.
What
we
was
had
it?
dogs. We had Cat Valentine with the one I grew up with, and then we had Beauty, and then we had Raven, and we had to give Raven back because Raven attacked the family. But then we had Beauty, and then Beauty came with us. But yeah, then we had birds. We had lovebirds that my father got sexed wrong, and then they instead of being a female and a male, it was two males, and they pecked each other to death. they literally ate each other.
Yeah, that's a bad day at the
Yeah.
pet store.
They were having a hard time. They tried to make a go at it for a while, but it was hard. It didn't take. Yeah.
Just show up and he's like, I want to return these dead birds.
Well, when Armin realized that he was finally going to climax with his biggest fantasy ever, he looked at Bern's corpse and said, quote, and this is a direct quote, this is on video,
I bet you can't wait for me to eat you, can you? Oh, you lucky thing. You lucky, lucky man. This is the best thing ever. He's like, he's at the Eras tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and actually, well, he said it in German, so it would be, Ich werde, du kannst es kaum erwarten, dass ich dich esse, oder? Oh, du Glücksspiels, du glücklicher Mann. Das ist das Beste, was es dir gab. Was es dir gab! I know I didn't get that perfect, but you know, it's not bad.
It is so much worse in German. That is so much more like, it feels more, I feel like I'm more in the room when you do the German.
Oh, du Glücksspiels?
Yeah, du Glücksspiels.
Du glücklicher Mann. You lucky man.
Did you watch the video?
There is no
can't.
video. There's only the stills.
Do you think they erased? Do you think they just destroyed it?
I think they probably did because they made sure.
I bet you
they
it's in the
made
crime
sure that,
archives.
Yeah, it might be somewhere.
There has to be a copy of it probably somewhere in some archive. Like, I bet that we could, if we went and did some form of whatever their version of a FOIA is in Germany, we could probably, I think
No,
we could
if
probably
someone
get it.
could have gotten it by now, they would have gotten it by now.
Well, or it's just difficult to find because it's literally a snuff film, so I don't think that it's available in normal avenues. I think you'd have to go to Tor, you'd have to go to the deep web to get it.
Yeah. Well, those stills came from somewhere.
Netflix.
Well, after caressing Baron's body, trying to memorize the features of what was no doubt his soulmate, Armin hung the corpse feet first in the Geen configuration to put the body in a position where it could be emptied of fluid. If you've ever seen the crime scene photos of the body of Bernice Worden, just like that.
I've seen a pig thing.
You seen
It's
a pig?
the same as an animal getting.
Look up Bernice Worden real quick because
It's
you need to see
halal
this one.
style. It's literally halal style butchering. So what he did is he hangs it up. So you try to you slit it through so all the blood can come out into a bucket.
Yeah, and then he made a cut in the neck from ear to ear so it could all drain out into buckets upon buckets of blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was hung up like that. Yeah, it's not good.
That makes sense.
Now, if you go down a little bit, that's it.
That's bad.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Same.
yeah. The same way.
Yep.
Yeah, exact
Yo,
same
is
way.
this photo available to him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, he was completely obsessed with true crime, and he's on the internet, so it was definitely available
Well,
for him.
when they say like the Geen configuration, I think that was, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that was like kind of a term in the cannibal. Like it was like kind of like, well, if you're gonna kill someone, you're gonna use the Geen configuration.
Oh, see, I thought that was something you made up.
No, that is unfortunate. That the internet did do that. We found out what dulcet girls means. I completely forgot that it's when you take a woman and you spit roast her, you stick you put her on a rotisserie. It's normally artistic representations of this.
Normally, huh?
Normally, yeah. And then you put the spit through her vagina out her mouth, and she's supposed to like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
she's cooked over a fire.
Amber was obsessed with it for a bit,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Go figure.
Well, once the body stopped bleeding, Armin sliced at the neck muscle and ligament, then twisted the head off where the spinal cord met the skull. Deciding that Bernd would want to, quote, join in on the fun, Armin placed Bernd's head on the butcher table, getting very comfortable with the macabre nature of his task very quickly. After skinning the corpse, shivering in pleasure as the tissue made a pronounced ripping noise when it was pulled off, Bernd finished his joke from earlier in the kitchen. After tearing Bernd's scrotum away, he addressed Bernd's head and said, quote,
I bet you're sorry you won't be able to join me eating these for breakfast, aren't you, Bernd? Funny guy.
Yeah, sometimes they don't always. It's like when I write a joke before the show and then I try to do it during the show and it falls flat.
Yeah.
Again, ich wette, es tut dir leid, dass du nicht mit mir zum Frühstück essen kannst, nicht wahr, Bernd?
Again, it's just, the German makes it so much worse.
It really does, yeah. I mean, I know I'm getting all the intonations wrong, but it's ich werde.
No, it works.
Such a strict language.
It is. Strict people.
Not these guys.
Rise from your grave.
Well, next, Armin tied off the anus with twine to prevent.
Hey,
Just so everyone knows, we just came back from a break, and that's
had to poop.
And
I had to go
Henry
take a shit.
tied off his anus.
No. My anus is still loosey. It's still, it's just empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, to prevent it from contaminating the rest of the body. Then let out sighs of pleasure as he began removing Bernd's innards.
Can I ask, how would you tie an anus with twine?
Basically, you cut it, and then what you do at the very
Did
end.
you cut the butt meat off and then tied it?
You cut the tube out, and then you pull it up and you tie it off.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
you
Like a
pull it-
water balloon. kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
You separate it from the end because the sphincter is what connects it to the end of the skin. So you pull out the two, you cut a hole around it, and you pull it out, and you tie it off, and then you cut the whole thing in half. The whole
Yeah,
body in half.
because remember, when you
a
eat
trigger
something, from your mouth to your butthole is one continuous tube.
Yeah, that's why you can eat a marble and shit it out. It's that easy.
Down the tube.
Yep, that's what I
There
do.
you go. But just as Armin was really getting into it, he heard something click behind him. The video recorder had run out of tape. So right in the middle of butchering a human being, Armin had to stop, change, and get showered before driving into Rothenburg to buy another.
Dude, how many of us who've worked at various, like I worked at Eckerd's, I've worked at other things, like when you work at a retail store or a late night gas station or a pharmacy, you've met 5 of these guys a day. Like these guys it is wild to me to think that he's just, because then he's like, he's just like covered in sweat at the thing, being like, I need these tapes. Honestly, I could use some gum.
Did you know that you are meeting me on the best day of my life?
Yes,
Do you know how much of a happy boy I am?
Do you want to give $1 to save children with hair lips?
I'll give 10.
You know about 20. Everybody, it's great. I'm like Scrooge Christmas Day.
Buy the biggest goose.
Buy the biggest goose you can find. I love it. Oh, wonderful. A boy named Goose.
This is definitely a good advertisement for digital.
So after buying the tape and returning home, it was finally time to butcher the meat. After removing the arms from the shoulder blade, he chopped the hands off and broke apart the elbow
It really
joint.
would be the funniest iCloud commercial.
I'm just like, oh, ain't it better in the cloud? Yeah, like, oh. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he comes back, a bunch of ravens are eating his he's like,
He then split the body and removed the backbone, which seems to be the step shown in the supposed stills that leaked. But after chopping off the feet, Armin cut the meat from the torso, pelvis, and legs into fillets, steaks, bacon, and a big rump roast.
wasn't that big.
Big enough. I mean, could you eat the entire thing in one sitting?
I'm just saying, I saw that meat, dude. I saw that cattle. It ain't got that badonkadonk.
You wouldn't think I would have one, but I got one.
Oh, we talked about this, yes, but I saw the other man's butt.
You saw his butt.
Yeah, it's not that big.
How did you see his butt?
It's in all the fucking horrible pictures of his dismembered body.
You only see it from the front.
Yeah, and it looks a lot different,
hey, nope.
when it's just on a plate.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, he probably had a fine ass.
Just take this all back. I'm sorry. I should not be. I'm sorry.
But after every bit of edible flesh was removed, all while Armin literally salivated over every cut, he broke his final promise to Bernd. Instead of disintegrating every inedible bit of Bernd's body, Armin dug a hole in his garden and buried Bernd's skin, bones, and inedible innards.
What an asshole.
The head would eventually be buried as well, but for the time being, it was kept in the freezer.
He was chilling out.
God damn it.
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, he's
HenryTunes.com.
Hey, come on, go check it out. But he because it takes an extreme heat to burn bones, and I think that's what it was.
It's like 3,000 degrees.
I don't think he did it to hurt Bernd. I think that he just was very, very difficult for him to do, and he realized he had to bury them.
Yeah. Now, after the burial, Armin returned to the slaughter room to cut the hunks of human flesh into reasonable portions. Then he wrapped each piece in butcher paper and neatly labeled them rump, steak, bacon, or fillet. But besides just the sheer joy of achieving his lifelong fantasy, Armin said that he was also excited that he'd be saving big on his grocery bill.
Oh, yes. That's where my head goes.
It's in all
You
of
can't
us.
afford not to do it.
Because the only thing he'd have to buy for a long time, vegetables and pasta. That's it. Now, while Armin waited a couple of days for the meat to cure properly before he cooked his first human steak, because he had researched the best way to do this, he fantasized about the meals he would make with Bernd's flesh. Hamburgers, ribs, meatballs, stir fry.
Well, yeah.
Really anything you could do with pork.
There's a lot of stuff he can do. Yeah, Armin. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, okay?
He also experimented with the pieces that didn't really have an animal counterpart, like the hands and feet.
Oh, yeah, they do. Chicken feet.
Yeah.
Hog foot.
Yeah, but,
those-
chicken,
but those aren't-
chicken's way different.
Way
The hog
different.
knuckle.
Way
Hog
different.
knuckles
You don't
will
eat
probably
hog
someone-
knuckle like that? You don't fucking cook it up?
You're being deliberately obtuse.
I don't think so. I'm helping.
I think a human foot is way different than a fucking pig hoof.
Or a chicken foot, you fucking idiot.
Chicken foot. People eat chicken foot.
No, I mean, like, you have to look up recipes. Because, like,
Yeah.
you could look up, like, a monkey meat recipe to see how you could cook a hand.
Oh, yeah, I bet. But
Yeah.
also, did you see that guy that lost his foot? There was a guy that ate the meat off of his foot and stripped the meat from between the, whatever that, not the tendrils. What are
Sure.
these called? What are the things
Yeah,
in
but
between?
that was in 2012.
Yeah.
There was this pain.
I forgot. There was pre-cancel culture.
Yeah, that's
I'm
the thing.
sorry. This is all old days. Back
And the
when you could do whatever.
But the human foot is unique in the animal kingdom. The nearest thing, strangely enough, is the elephant, whose bone structure closely resembles that of a human.
But you wouldn't turn a human foot into like a side table like you did with an elephant.
No, couldn't do that. You could turn it into a paperweight.
Cute.
I would imagine skinning it and putting it in the slow cooker would be the best way to do
All
a
of
human
this.
foot.
Yeah,
No.
I think all
Yeah.
human meat would be best braised.
There's gonna be a lot of bones though. There's so
yeah.
many bones in the foot.
You make
Yeah,
a broth
but-
out of it.
Yeah, but we eat bony fish. We eat fish with full of bones, and I would
It'd be like goat kind of maybe.
It's
yeah,
pork
like
broth.
goat.
Like
I actually thought of it more like a frog's leg.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
I'm actually starting.
No,
to
yeah,
get
we're all
hungry.
like this. Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's because we're monsters and I like meat.
But when it came to meat, Armin made the closest comparison he could. He thought it'd be kind of like curing a Parma ham.
Yeah.
So Armin tried drying a hand and foot in the oven, but when they shriveled, he ground them into flour like an actual ogre.
Yeah, in the ogre's house.
Yeah, and you can do that. You can grind human bones to make your bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a famine in the 1500s in which people did that.
It's not
Whoa.
good. Yeah.
No, it's not good for you, but you can do it.
Wow, that's so impressive.
Humans are amazing.
Yeah. The other foot he boiled whole, then plated it with ketchup and herbs,
Ketchup.
placing the presentation.
Mustard. We're in Germany.
The guy's a fucking weirdo.
He wants the blood.
Yeah.
He wants it to look like blood.
He's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, he's not doing it to eat it. He's placing the presentation. You know, he put it in front of a pot of boiling water because he wanted to make it look like steam was rising from the foot.
Oh,
this is an artistic effort. He had no desire to eat the foot, but just being able to play with fresh human remains was pleasure enough.
You never
I
play.
lost all respect for him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I honestly do feel like
doing
no,
all this,
just
you're not
playing
even
with your
eating
food.
it?
Well, no, I mean, he's, doing what he can until the meat's cured.
Yeah, and he's jerking off a lot.
Yeah.
Boil it in beer. That'd be fucking good.
Yes.
Well, to the point of pleasure, Armin masturbated endlessly
That's what I'm
about the
saying.
slaughter room experience,
Yes.
watching the tape over and over again while he did so.
All of this was while he was masturbating.
Yes.
You can pretty much assume that.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
he washed his hands.
Hey, man, it's his own supply.
Yeah. But after 2 days passed, Armin decided that Bernd was finally ready to eat. Now, Armin obsessed over the details of how his first meal of human flesh would go. After setting the table with candles, a vase of flowers, and his mother's fine china, Armin briefly considered playing music, but decided against it because he wanted to focus completely on the meal. Using a recipe he found on one of his cannibal sites, Armin seared the human steak to medium rare, then plated it with porcini mushrooms, Brussels sprouts, and he called it princess potatoes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that is.
I mean, tiny little fingerlings, probably.
They're probably a very macabre German way of saying fingerling potatoes.
Oh, those are my favorite potatoes.
Me
I
too.
love
Yes,
roasted.
yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah, I love them. I
Some
love them with
rosemary.
chicken. Yeah.
Well, the pairing wine was a South African Merlot.
I
He
actually-
always had red wine
He
with
loves
his
the
meat.
red wine.
Yeah.
He was a vampire.
Yeah. And just before Armin dug in, he said a prayer.
Thank you for the world so sweet. Thank you for the food we eat. Thank you for the birds that sing. Thank you, God, for everything. Amen.
So do you think
Rub a dub dub.
believed,
Thanks for the clap. Yay, God.
do you think he believed in God?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, only God would have provided this bountiful meal for him.
Danke für diese süße Welt. Danke für das Essen, das wir essen. Danke für die Vogel, die singen. Danke Gott für alles. Amen.
And as expected, Armin found the steak to be absolutely delicious. He said that, as expected, it tasted like pork, but he was surprised that it tasted somehow, in his words, stronger.
Yeah, he said, Hasha.
But Armin was not having this meal alone. For company, he brought Bernd's head out of the freezer and he talked to it as he ate his meal.
I'm going to say for our audience, he was still alone.
No, he didn't feed anyone.
No, that's alone. That's actually like more alone than being by yourself.
Actually, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he was finished, Armin decided that nothing had ever been so delicious. And of course, the more he ate, the more sexual satisfaction he gained. By the time he was done with the meal, he was panting with sexual tension, on the verge of orgasm just from the act of eating. But after the first meal was said and done, Armin said he felt powerful, as if he'd absorbed all of Bernd's skills, attributes, and character. It's just how he had imagined it being. He felt stronger and more intelligent. He was the recipient of a true religious experience. But from what his neighbors said, Armin remained the same weird, lonely dork he'd always been throughout the 10 months he ate Bernd's flesh.
But think about it on his inside.
Yeah.
He really is walking around like he is Super Saiyan. Like there's energy like flowing out of him and everywhere he goes. That's why there's a little bit of, is the brain reacting to human meat in a way that we're not really supposed to eat it? Because a lot of cannibals talk about euphoria that they experience when they eat human meat, but it also kind of sounds like they're on drugs. And a lot of times it leads to other massive issues in your body. We're not supposed to eat it. It's bad for us.
You're not supposed to eat dolphin meat either.
No, but the key is, which is honestly, he's extremely lucky in the fact that if you are going to eat human meat, it must be cooked well done. Like you cannot eat raw or
We
even
had
medium rare. But yes, he's very lucky because you can get a thing called kuru or any one of the other type of prion diseases, which leaves you. It takes about a decade to kill you, and it leaves you completely immobile, covering your own shit, laughing yourself into maniacal. So basically, it's rabies plus locked-in syndrome.
Okay.
It's not good.
What's the pork one? Trichinosis?
Trichinosis.
Yeah, but that was, I believe that was a play by Big Chicken.
No,
Big
it's
Chicken
real.
came for pork. No,
There's
Big Chicken came for pork. Pork is not as bad for you as we think it is because Big Chicken set up a bunch of shit because they wanted to sink pork because chicken wanted to be the number one white meat. And then
You
pork
don't need
talked
to
about
convince me. I'm not your doctor.
But I'm telling you this. But technically, pork is not white meat. Pork is red meat.
Of course
they
it
lied
is.
to us. I'm saying that all came from the chicken industry. All of this comes from beef and chicken lying on pork.
All right.
All right.
Now, Armin used Bernd's meat in every meal, eating strips of bacon with his eggs in the morning, steaks and roasts at night, and worst of all, meatballs at work for lunch.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. Someone had to smell it.
Yeah, someone had to
If
smell
they're
it.
a microwave.
He sat right next to another guy that fucking serviced ATMs.
And then what is he fucking hard as the Dickens eating burned meatballs while he's in the fucking lunchroom while everybody's just sitting around him and he's just going.
I would imagine after a while it just became normal,
A secret smile.
like a secret smile. Yeah.
Like,
What was
pep
his
in my
job
step.
again? IT.
Yeah. Well, he was a computer technician. He serviced ATMs.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he was probably next to a guy who was also eating human meatballs, and I'm sat in the other guy who's just got done killing his daughter. You know what I mean? You never know.
And he also knew a lot about computers. Actually, there was another listener who wrote in that said that Armin Meiwes, one of his relatives knew Armin Meiwes. Like he was the guy in Rottenburg. Like if your computer broke, you call up Armin, and Armin will
Okay.
come over to your house. He'll stay for way longer than you want him to.
Yeah,
It will be
clicking through and meandering on. and,
Yeah, he'll just sit and until you kind of go like, well, I guess that I'm gonna let you go.
I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah,
But now this is let me let you go. Let me let you go is literally the nicest way to say get the fuck out of my house.
I'm gonna let you go now.
I
That's a very Texas thing. is, I'm gonna let you go now.
I'm gonna let you go. But this is now really where it turns. Exactly what we were saying. That now the fantasy has been completely realized, and he's been eating it to the point. Truly, what you're saying, it got boring. Not boring, but run of the mill. It's now
Routine.
his life. But he also his fantasy was fulfilled, and he kind of this all went away in his own mind. Oh, Byrne just disappeared. But now we're going to see that now reality is going to come fiercely rushing into Armin's life.
Okay.
Well, not for another year and a half.
But I mean, it's the idea of it's going to. This is the beginning of what's going to happen.
How long did he eat burnt for?
10 months.
Okay.
Yeah. But while Baron Brandis the meal was making Armin the happiest boy in Rottenburg, Baron Brandis the man had been missed right away. See, Baron hadn't told his boyfriend Renee about any sort of trip out of town, business or otherwise, anything that might explain his sudden disappearance on Friday, March 9th, 2001. Finally, Renee called the police on Monday, who were, as usual, not concerned about a missing gay man. Renee spent the next few days calling the cops, but was consistently told they were sure Bernd would be home soon. Hitting a dead end with the police, Renee called a Berlin newspaper, who recognized there might be something to Bernd's disappearance, especially after Renee found the will. That's when he knew something's weird here.
Yes,
I don't know
something's weird.
what this is, but something's fucking weird. Soon after, a photo was run in Die Berliner Zeitung. I think it's the Berliner Times. A missing persons report was finally filed. Meanwhile, Armin was starting to slip when it came to keeping his mouth shut.
He's proud.
While everyone else still saw him as the same old boring weirdo, he nevertheless developed a strange kind of confidence that almost got him in trouble.
This is a common theme among cannibals. So the reason why, because every video I was watching, so it's the final taboo, according to every British thing, because
It's the final taboo.
the final
Cannibalism.
taboo. Yeah, and so it's like this idea of, on one hand, you have a secret shame. But a lot of cannibals, it's different. Is that they truly have a sense of superiority, as that in some ways, Armin believes that his born pathology meant that he was always a step outside of humanity and evolved. Like he kind of viewed himself as, I just understand a pleasure that no one else can understand. Very Cenobite-like.
Sure.
Yes, and that he walks around with this confidence, with a pep in his step, like he just slept with Pete Davidson. But it's not really. But then we find out, no, it's actually gross.
One night, while he was out drinking with an old school friend, Armin said that he was looking for a man who was, quote,
ripe for the slaughter.
Understandably confused and shaken by the statement, the friend called Armin the next day and asked what he meant by the whole man ripe for the slaughter thing. Armin, of course.
That's whole business.
You're crazy. I say anything at night. I like saying crazy shit, man.
And of course, he told him, forget I said anything.
You can. I meant big tits on a man. Yeah.
Now, after 5 months, Armin had gone through 2/3 of what he'd butchered off Baron's body, so he was anxious to make sure he got another man lined up so he wouldn't have to go a day without a meal featuring human flesh.
I'm like that with weed.
Yeah.
I don't like to run out. I get real mad when I run out.
Yeah, I don't want to run out. I just want to make sure I have it. Even if I'm not smoking, I want to make sure it's there.
I'm like that with nicotine patches and gum.
Yeah.
So he returned to the cannibal chat rooms to search for a new candidate, posting ads very similar to what had caught Bernd. This time, however, he narrowed the age bracket by 5 years. No longer up to 30, it's now 25. Because I think he was a little miffed that Bernd had fudged his age. One of those ads read, quote,
Well, he also, one thing he said is that he does believe the meat was worse because he was older than he thought he was. So
Yes.
he does want him, he wants him tight.
Yeah.
So here's the ad.
Slaughter Boy Salt. Are you between 18 and 25 years old, healthy and with a normal build? Do you want to end your life, but you want something decent to come out of you? Then come to me. I will slaughter you and worship your body in delicious schnitzel and steaks. Those interested should apply with details of age, height, and weight, ideally with a photo. Frankie, the Master Butcher.
Der Metzgermeister. Meister.
Nice.
Now, Armin did get a couple of responses, but none were willing to agree to a meeting. Deciding that a bigger net catches more fish, Armin again raised the age ceiling to 30.
It's hard to be single.
Yeah, too much to live for at a young age.
Yeah. This brought responses from multiple men who came very close to being Armin's next meal plan. And they definitely would have been killed if Armin was a more aggressively violent person.
He was waiting for another Bernd.
Yeah.
He was waiting for somebody else who was just as aggressive about it as, because it really was we're not blaming him, but there was a 50-50 edge here.
Well, it wasn't even aggressive. It was more, they had to submit.
And that dude created urgency.
Yeah.
He was like, I want it and I want it now. And Armin wanted to feel that pressure because that was giving him sexual drive.
And also, he probably figured they were everywhere since first time out was burnt.
Yeah, he got one.
Well, actually, before that, he had met a couple of guys in hotel rooms.
Yeah, and they just were
and
not serious. Guys aren't serious.
Yeah. Well, the first guy after Bernd, his name was Stefan.
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 Yeah,
Yeah,
but it'd be a
Stefan.
Stefan,
Yeah.
yeah.
He came to the farmhouse where Armin stripped him naked, strapped him to the slaughter bench, and marked his skin with lines to signify different cuts like ham and filet, like it was a fucking Looney Tune short.
And again, it's all fun and games until the saws come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, this sounds like a kind of fun.
Yeah, and then it finally dawned on Stefan that Armin was for real.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
And
and so-
and he immediately became Stephen Urkel. He went back. He changed.
He begged to be set free, and Armin did so. And after they shared a frozen pizza, Stefan went home and never
didn't
talked to
cook it or
Armin
nothing.
again. Fucking chug it up.
I like it crunchy. Now, do you think that, how do you go on with your life? How does Stefan, literally, go back to work next day and be like, what'd you do last night, Stefan? He's
Yeah.
just been like, well, we played a little game of fake operation. And, what do you do? How do you just say, you know what? Friday was nuts. Yeah.
What do? Later on, you testify at his trial.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a secret until then.
The next guy to come out was also a bust, although this one was more interested in the BDSM side of things.
Okay.
Armin locked him in the wooden cage he'd built in the slaughter room.
To make him a veal.
Yeah. And tossed the guy scraps of meat, all while the captive man, again, squealed like a pig.
Do you think he fed him?
No,
that's his meat,
Yeah,
dude.
that's his meat. No, he's not gonna waste that.
No.
Eventually, the man asked to be set free, and he also went home. The next two,
Guy being in the dog cage.
Honestly, feel bad for Armin. It's like, come on,
Oh, I'm a piggy. I'm a fucking piggy.
losers, don't answer the ad unless you actually want to be like, come
tired.
on.
I got. Oh, well, I'm finished. Yeah. Oh yes, I'm finished. Hey, you know what? Actually, I could get out of here.
the next two who visited the house were rejected by Armin because one was too fat. Which,
Fuck you.
well, that
Whatever,
spoiled his
dude.
fantasy of a lean cut of meat.
I know, but hey, bro, fucking guess what happens when you throw out whatever bait you got? You get whatever fish gets in the boat.
Wish you could have this fucking brisket, Armin.
Yeah, man, you wish you could fucking eat my dick. I dare you to try to eat my dick.
And he said the other one was too stupid, and that spoiled the
Fair
idea.
enough.
Yeah. Well,
God.
he loved the idea that he's absorbing something positive from the other person. He's
Yeah.
absorbing their attributes, and I think he truly believed that if he ate a stupid person, he would himself become stupid.
I actually have a weird theory about cannibalism that I do think that there is something to the concept of DNA memory, and that there is something to the concept of there is something that can get passed if you do eat human meat. Because Armin Meiwes did say that his Bernd was much better in English than him, and his saying that my English improved a massive amount after I ate him was
That's
like
from all the flipper.
But you know what? I did notice that his first posting and his second posting,
it got
his
better.
English is so much better in the second one. The
Yeah.
first one's like broken and like you barely understand what he's trying to say.
no, he worked it out.
Yeah.
I
He's
feel
learning.
like if you're eating people, you can't be this choosy.
Yeah.
No, I actually think it's the opposite. If you're not going to get caught, you got to be choosy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
that's the thing is that if you're gonna do this, it's got to be worth it. Yet another guy was rejected because he wanted Armin to incinerate his genitals with a flamethrower. And while I don't know this for sure, I think it's probable that Armin didn't want to get in the whole rigmarole of another guy who had a castration fantasy.
Reminds me of my ex. You know, but also I honestly think it was about the flamethrower.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
really
like, where
intense
am
for
I
Armin.
supposed to get a
the barn's very
flamethrower?
flammable.
Well, the one who came the closest to going through with the slaughter was a guy named Dirk, who took who took the fantasy all the way to being strapped to the slaughter table with the knives out. But at the last second, Dirk backed out, and since Armin needed the person to want to be killed, he let Dirk go.
Do you think that makes him like his dick go down? Do you think that they're in this
When the
and then-
guy starts freaking, of course it does.
Do you
Yeah.
think that he just then doesn't come? Like they won't just jerk each
Nope.
other off or suck each other off?
I think no, they have frozen pizza and they go home.
Wow.
It's the same reason you like having sex with a woman who enjoys it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Meanwhile, Armin had been bragging on his cannibal forums, again using the name of Frankie, writing that he'd actually eaten a person, unlike all you fucking posers.
Fucking goddamn Reddit strikes again. It's just another one.
I've actually eaten human flesh.
The rest of you just shamables.
In this, I'd imagine Armin figured he was safe because his confessions were mixed in with so much obvious fantasy. And really, if not for one person, Armin would have been safe. As I said, it took 10 months for Armin to make his way through 44 pounds of meat, human meat. And no one...
That's it, huh?
Yeah, 44 pounds. That's what you get.
Well, that's what he got, and that's what he got through. That's
Yeah.
what, yes.
How much did he weigh before he killed him?
I don't know, but he
don't know.
seemed to be about my size. Actually, I
Okay.
think he was about 160, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And no one even came close to connecting Armin to Baron's disappearance. It wouldn't be until December of 2002, more than a year and a half after Baron's death, that Die Polizei would come knocking on Armin's door.
Not even a mention of 9/11 by these guys. Not even a fucking mention. Didn't knock his boner down a second. He's eating human meat on 9/11. He's sitting watching 9/11, eating burned, and just going like, God damn, we might get into a little bit of a ruckus with that. Nice goddamn Saddam Hussein.
Wow, interessant. Yeah. See, the police had been led to Armin through a curious university student who came along one of Frankie's posts and emailed anthrophagus@hotmail.com. The student, however, was soon met with extremely elaborate descriptions of cannibalism that seemed realistic enough where the student deleted his account out of fear. With these emails in his possession, the student informed the Federal Criminal Police of Hesse, and quite suddenly, the cannibal forums had an uptick in new users that were all, of course, undercover cops.
This is the only time I feel bad for police when they have to do shit like this. When they're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, eat me, daddy. Yep, yeah. I'm your freshly shucked turkey. I'm ready to be stuffed filled with spices, and I'm ready to be consumed.
I
Yep.
feel like you would have been such a good cop.
Oh, I would have been great for this. Being like, then we'll get the gravy, and then, big pile of me. Don't you want it? Aren't you ready for it? Just so, oh yeah, I'd be a slut for this.
Well, many cops answered Armin's ad. They're going at him from all angles.
Oh yeah, but now he's just been like, okay, now you guys are just lying.
And it took them 2 months to identify Frankie the Cannibal as Armin Meiwes, the computer guy. After identifying Armin, police arrived at his farmhouse in Wustefeld to ask him a few questions and search the house. Armin, of course, cracked after just 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
When the police straight up asked Armin if he'd ever eaten human flesh, Armin said, and this is true,
I may have.
Following Armin's confession,
Okay.
I may have me.
And that's
So
when
much
you beat
worse,
him to
yeah.
death with a shovel.
Following Armin's confession, police searched the disgusting farmhouse and discovered the remaining packages of Bern's meat in a false bottom in Armin's freezer.
And how they knew it was different was that, according to the police, there was like one of them was a lady police officer, and she was like,
I am a housewife, and I know what meat is, and this is not normal meat.
Yeah. Cool. They did not, however, find the videotape of Bern's slaughter and butchery. Now, incredibly, the police did not arrest Armin on the spot. Instead, they took his 16 computers, 200 hard drives, and 300 videotapes, all just chock full to the brim with pornography and torture
Enjoy.
and just like gore, and just the worst shit.
like, ah, yes.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah, they had to see what they could see. They had to watch all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they also took the frozen meat. Armin, meanwhile, was left alone to panic. After a while, he called his half-brother Ingbert just to talk it through. But it was his sister-in-law, Ingbert's wife, who answered the phone. Since Ingbert wasn't home, Armin decided that the first person he was going to confess to was this poor woman he barely knew.
Honestly, that does
Oh.
make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. The cops are here. They took all my human meat. I don't know what to. I know we really know each other.
I know we only met once at a wedding.
Who is this? I haven't updated my contacts.
Now, at first, this woman figured that Armin had been caught with child pornography.
Definitely.
Like,
oh, yeah. First of all, I mean, like, let me guess, child porn? Like, as soon as he calls.
oh, the cops took all your hard drives? Tell me more. But when she asked him straight up, did they catch you looking at child pornography? He instead said, oh, no, I killed someone.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
I'd much rather you be a murderer.
And then he hung up the phone.
As long as it's not a child murder.
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
I still, again, is that weird? I'd rather you kill him than eat him and fuck him.
That's real fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I guess I don't have a preference. I don't, you know?
I'm going to go ahead and say I don't have to choose.
I think that's right. I just do.
Well, realizing that he now immediately needed legal representation, Armin drove into Rothenburg and found the lawyer who'd formerly represented him in his DWI cases.
Oh yeah. 'cause he's a
It's a
drinker.
whole different procedure.
But the thing is, dude wasn't even a criminal. He was a divorce lawyer.
I mean, that's who you call. I
Oh.
feel like if there's a divorce lawyer that's going to handle you being a candidate, like, I just feel like that's who I would call.
So this guy did not take it well when Armin told him that he'd killed and eaten someone.
God damn it, Armin. I just, I can't get involved in something like this.
Well, once the lawyer recovered from the shock of the confession, he told Armin to turn himself in because everyone's way out of their depth, Armin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's like I can't do this.
I'm an expert level case. A lot of people. I'm unique.
And Armin agreed. After showing up to the police station, Armin gave a full statement admitting to killing and eating a person named Bernd Brandis. And news of his unnatural acts soon spread throughout Rothenburg and eventually the entire world. This was a worldwide case. Everyone knew about Armin Meiwes.
Oh.
Now, Armin's trial began about a year after he confessed. And as in all German trials involving a death, this is interesting. Their justice system is very different. Yeah. A panel made up of 3 judges and 2 civilians would decide Armin's fate. You know, we just got jury system for basically everything.
Yeah.
You know, jury your peers. Germany, different crimes, different panel.
Could it be like two guys? Could it be like Carrot Top and like somebody? Is it just randoms or is it?
I imagine it could be.
I mean, I didn't really look into it.
Yeah, we don't got to get lost
I
in
don't
these
got
weeds.
to-
We don't
yeah.
know how this works.
Armin's defense, of course, was that he was enacting a kind of euthanasia, killing on demand for a person who desperately wanted to die. Basically, it was the Kevorkian argument, except that while Kevorkian was all about dying with dignity, Brandis was explicitly asking to die without dignity.
Yeah, what if I want this bad way to go? What if I want everyone to frown when they hear my name?
What if dignity went out the window?
Yeah, this is it. That's what I am. That's what I like.
I wonder how many people Kevorkian ate.
Oh God.
Now, Armin had been studying the law in jail and found that his earlier assumption that cannibalism was illegal, he found that was wrong. There was no law specifically against cannibalism in Germany. And Armin spoke about this subject for hours in open court. In fact, Armin spoke more than his lawyer.
It's almost like it's what he's always wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as witnesses went, Armin's failed second attempts at cannibalism testified about their near misses with Armin, and Armin's half-brother Ingbert also testified. His other half-brother, Wolfgang, he'd since become a priest, so he didn't want anything to do with this.
Listen, I'm already in 3 other trials. Okay, I cannot be. I am full, Armin.
They call me Wolfgang Suck.
Now, besides Armin's own admission, there was, of course, the videotape of the slaughter and butchery, which had to be viewed by the jury panel, as well as 2 attorneys, a few expert witnesses, and the poor court reporter who had to both watch and type out all of the conversations between Armin and Bernd.
So this is where, in Last Podcast in Left History, we see that the juries experience 2 extremes in this life. One is the incredible day on one extreme when a group of people all got to go look for work at Jodi Arias's butthole and see pictures of her naked body, and that must have been awesome for them. That's a great day to be a juror.
Yeah.
This is the exact opposite of the spectrum, because you have a bunch of people that obviously have never seen somebody be murdered openly on film before.
No.
But never mind the fact. He's like, you're watching murder, and that's bad enough. That's bad. But then you have the guy who's getting murdered screaming, I wish I could feel it. I wish I could. And he's going, yes, yeah. And he's like, you're watching a guy unbe able to bite the dick off, a hard dick off a man. It's a long day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's 2 videotapes.
Yeah, it's a long
Remember,
day.
he had to go to the store and buy a second one.
Yeah, it's a thing where everybody's coming out like, with a handkerchief.
No fast forwarding, man. It's like 8-track.
No, you got to watch each minute of it. And because it's hard. That was like, they talk about it's traumatizing. They watched a guy beg to be murdered, and it's extremely confusing.
You'll never be the same.
Yeah, and then not only watched him get murdered, but then watched the other guy.
Butcher him like he's a fucking lamb that you got at the store.
Yes. But after watching the tape and interviewing Armin, the expert witnesses came away with pretty much the same opinion. They were all, psychiatrists. One determined that Armin was mentally well and stable, but he needed therapy.
He could use a place to talk.
touch.
Yeah, he could do a little
It's
adjustment.
like he's not
A
a
sexologist
psycho.
named Klaus Bayer, who had a degree in sexual medicine. He agreed.
Does that come?
That's cum. That's cum. That's all I know.
Weirdo cannibal.
Yeah, it's cum.
Yeah, it's cum.
Come. He said that Armin was not technically mentally ill, and so Armin was pronounced fully sane by the jurist panel.
Yeah.
Now, by the time the second week of the trial was wrapping up, Armin thought that things were going extremely well for him.
I am crushing this.
Everybody's loving me. Though.
He was. Yeah,
As
no,
far
good.
as like a cannibal trial goes.
Yeah, this is
no, this
going
is the
as
best
well
it can
as
go.
It could. Yeah.
No, it's definitely going better than Dahmer's trial.
Yeah.
Armin loved being the center of attention, and he was the face of cannibalism. And he believed that he'd made his case that he was innocent because Bernd had wanted to die. And really, I wonder if it would have made any difference if Bernd had been the one to take the action that ended his own life and was videotaped doing so.
I agree.
Yeah, but in the end, all that mattered was that Armin was the one who'd stuck the knife in Bernd's throat, and he was convicted of manslaughter on January 30th, 2004. One of the judges declared that legally this was manslaughter and not murder because, quote, the famous lust for murder, the Lustmord, was not a part of Armin's motivation.
And he would have killed all the other people, too.
Yeah,
of course.
That was the big argument. He's like, look, I didn't kill all these guys.
Yeah.
It's fine. In other words, this judge essentially agreed that Armin's cannibalistic desires were an inescapable trait of his personality.
It's just me.
But he did not kill anyone against their will in order to feed those desires.
It's not illegal to be me.
Yeah, legalize Armin.
Yeah.
Well, as such, Armin was sentenced to 8 years, 6 months. But with good behavior, he could have expected to return to his farmhouse in less than 5. This, however, was not a satisfying conclusion for the German people. Now, Germany does have a double jeopardy law in place in which a person cannot be tried for the same crime twice. But unlike the double jeopardy law in America, which I found out is like the most, I guess, strict in the entire world.
Our double jeopardy?
Our double jeopardy. Like
wow.
nobody does double. Like with us, it's like if you are fucking convict. You cannot be tried for the same crime twice.
Even
if you're found
the
innocent,
weapon, even if the fucking murder weapon shows up the day after the trial
Yeah.
and it shows that you did it, there's nothing they can do.
yeah, can't do anything. But in Germany, both the defense and the prosecution can appeal against the judgment if they disagree with it. And so, after Armin's sentence was deemed too lenient and a retrial was had in 2006, he got life in prison.
It's probably best.
Yeah,
Because he was just going to cook and eat more people.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have.
Buddy,
I think I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have found another guy.
I think that, I actually think that the boost of the trial would have brought the guys to him.
Yeah.
Brings
Or
the
he
mil-
just-
all
It's like
these
there
milkshakes
would
brought
be
all
other
the
people
boys to
out
the
there that'd
yard.
be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Or
Yes.
you just move.
He could move.
Why, yeah, he's got a beautiful house.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. It's disgusting.
Now, while this seems a little unfair by American standards,
Yeah, that's unfair.
well,
Yeah, Marcus.
bear in mind that Armin is perfectly happy in prison.
Yes.
He enjoys the structure. He enjoys the fame. And he likes that other inmates call him Der Kannibale.
Yeah.
This is my boyfriend, Salt Lick.
Fellow inmates find Armin intelligent and even admirable because he regularly takes the time to help inmates with legal matters or in writing letters when they need help. He's like the Bernie Madoff of cannibals.
He's a nice guy.
As Armin put it, he feels the best and most stable he's ever felt in his life in prison.
I'm here. I'm in my lane, moisturized, living life.
It's like it provided him with the family he'd always yearned for. In other words, Armin finally got the hug.
In prison.
Interesting. And he doesn't have to fix ATMs anymore.
But not without a sense of humor. Armin once requested for Christmas an 8-inch bockwurst banger and garlic and white wine, prepared with one of the recipes he'd used to braise Bernd Brandis' flesh. Also not without humor, and this is very funny, you know. The German prison officials did give him the sausage, but did not prepare it in the way Armin requested. It's very funny, you know.
Gets a little bit, but not all the way that you like. You funny little man. You funny guy.
Today, Armin says he regrets killing and eating Ben Brandis, and even wanted to write a biography trying to deter anyone else from doing what he did.
Sure, God, that's fucking, he's
Yeah,
full of
no.
fucking shit.
He was going to make it wonderful.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was just going to jerk off while writing the fucking book. I think that he is a full-on predator.
By his estimation, though, there are about 800 cannibals in Germany, which seems high.
Not for Germany.
Armin, however, did not say whether those are active cannibals or merely people with intense cannibalistic fetishes just like him who are all waiting for someone to say yes.
You know what they say? There's a
I'm in
lid for
love
every pot.
with the world, and in love with a girl.
Oh, yeah,
in love forever.
What is that song?
Say yes.
Oh, yes. Oh. Well, what a wonderful story. I've loved every fucking second of this. Thank you, Marcus. Good work, Eddie. Good work, Rob. Sorry for making you look at a bunch of horrible shit.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you to our research team, Joel and Shaw, who also had to read a bunch of horrible shit.
They
Good
did
work.
great.
But welcome. Thank you, guys. Next week.
Did a good stretch. Ugh. I like the multi-part one. So the next part is Patty Hearst. Ooh, almost 2 hours. Yay.
Hi. Did you know that you can watch Last Podcast on the Left and Side Stories?
Follow TikTok.
But it's on TikTok.
Yeah, because seeing is believing.
Yep.
So just go check it out. Watch it.
On the left. From your grave.
That's when the cannibalism
Actual
started.
bonus.
The button has been moved. Exit.
Yes.
I guess then the show must go on. Now, I would like to start today, first of all, by thanking Marcus for the work that you've done already. Right?
The work that I've done already.
You've just done so much work on this.
He's talking like he doesn't appreciate
And-
what you did.
I did.
And it's not just me. Carolina put in a ton of work on this.
Yeah, too much.
Shaw put in a ton of work
A
on
lot of
this. Joel put in a lot of work on this. This is a big team effort.
But now I kind of feel like,
I'm
because
starting to feel guilty.
I don't feel guilty. He does this to himself. But if you look at him right now, and Eddie said this to him, is that like, with all the work and with all the reading and the gravitas, the glasses,
Yeah.
because he is dressed like a liberal
Militant.
college
Yeah.
teacher in the 1960s.
No, you look like you're trying to talk me into like getting arrested.
See, that's what I feel like. Because
To the fascist insect.
because of this story, yeah, you look like a guy, like, I feel like a trembling 15-year-old heiress who's like, can you change me?
I am far more fashionable than the Symbionese Liberation Army. Welcome to the last podcast on the left, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Marcus Parks.
Hi, I'm Fatty Hearst. Hi, it's me. Yeah, it's my funny name. It's my funny burlesque name, Fatty Hearst.
Henry Zabrowski, Fatty Hearst.
And I'm Patty Burst, bigger than the last.
Yeah, see?
Not as big as the gnat.
There's so many ways to make fun of the name, even though she's a victim.
Patty Burst is Ed Larson.
Ooh, so much sizzler.
Hear that groan? That's the belt.
And of course, our subject today is Patty Hearst, the kidnapping of Patty Hearst and the subsequent odyssey that she went through afterwards.
This is a classic example of a name I've heard and a type of story I've heard and the various scant details that I have known over all the years. And you always kind of think like, oh, I know the Patty Hearst case. Stockholm Syndrome. She goes in, she robs bank. She's a rich lady, but she hangs out with these crazy revolutionaries. And, you never think about it. But the story itself is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah, I never really knew much about this. This has been very exciting.
Like,
And
it's
especially
huge.
because
It's
I've
like
always
I've never
hated,
heard of it.
William Randolph Hearst, just naturally, just because I have to, and the Hearst family because of Deadwood.
It's
Because of Deadwood, And so when I knew about Patty Hearst, it's like before this, I'm like, oh, she's just some criminal like the rest of them. And then you start learning about this shit, and all of a sudden, you were like, oh, we've been fed bullshit for all these years.
And that's the power of books, and that's why I read the Bible to the homeless people around my house every day to teach them about how Noah fucked his family.
Buox.
Now, out of all the true crime stories of the 20th century, it's generally accepted that the top three, or at least the top three by name recognition, are O.J. Simpson, the Lindbergh baby, and today's subject, the kidnapping of Patty Hearst.
Man, that fucking baby was a criminal, dude.
That baby, dude.
fucking went. He brought out the automatic weapons.
I
He started
couldn't
shooting up
believe
that
it.
wall.
Man.
Yeah.
That freaked me out because the whole time I thought the baby was the victim, right? And I was going through all this shit. I was like, motherfucker, that baby's a serial killer?
Fucking nuts, man. Fucking Bandolero.
Fucking debunk festival going on here.
Oh, bandoleros are going to play an important part in this story later on. Believe you me. Well, 50 years ago, on February 4th, 1974, the extraordinarily wealthy granddaughter of media mogul William Randolph Hearst was kidnapped from her Berkeley apartment by a far left-wing militant cult who called themselves the Symbionese Liberation Army, the SLA.
Yeah, dude, the fucking 8-headed snake.
Hell yeah, man. The Sibian Army, man. They worked
Yeah.
with Howard Stern.
Back in the day, man. Yeah, I believe. Wasn't Jesse Jane in this? Or isn't Jenna Jameson a member of
I
the
did my
Sybian
research.
Liberation?
I did my research. Do your own research, I always say.
That's how you know when the Sybian Liberation Army is coming, though. is You hear that.
These horses don't move.
What's most remembered about Patty Hearst, however, is that she helped her captors rob a bank less than 2 months after her capture, right after the SLA released a photograph of Patty dressed as a revolutionary holding an automatic weapon in front of the SLA flag, looking real fucking cool, real fucking scary to the squares at the time.
And also kind of attractive.
Yeah! Now, since the SLA's beliefs were strictly political, Patty Hearst was vilified on the right for her participation in some of the SLA's crimes, which included multiple cold-blooded murders. That being said, those on the left also have their opinions on Patty. mostly because she was born into an extremely privileged and sheltered life.
Privilege and shelter doesn't even really even come close to what she was. She's like the last unicorn.
Yeah. Like I was privileged and sheltered. She was fucking taken away to a castle.
She had a nice time.
Yeah.
The Hearst family is still to this day the 14th richest in America. And Patty's grandfather, William Randolph Hearst, was one of the most visible and well-known symbols of the American ruling class oligarchy of his time. He's sort of like how we view Jeff Bezos today.
I actually think that Jeff Bezos is nicer than William Randolph Hearst.
I don't know. I'd like to put him in the ground myself.
Yeah, we'll get him. We'll figure it out.
Now, taking those facts into account, it may be tempting to look at Patty Hearst in a less than sympathetic light. After all, when Patty Hearst was kidnapped, she was indeed slumming it in a bad neighborhood in Berkeley, California. She was the very definition of the girl Pulp sang about in the song Common People. But when you reduce this story to its most basic form, Patty Hearst was a young 19-year-old woman who survived by her own wits and strength a brutal kidnapping, months of torture, and multiple sexual assaults perpetrated by men who also saw Patty Hearst as almost a different species because of her background. Now, with the Patty Hearst story, it's important to know the historical context.
We know. We gotta know the context.
It always is. That's why I love these series.
But this is
historical context are my two favorite words in the English language.
besides I'm coming. This story, it's interesting because it is important to set the context because it's nice for us because it's modern history.
Yeah.
And it's something I can try to understand, except it's another time, and I'm coming. Listen, guys, communists, I hear you. All right. I'm trying to read it. I tried to read the theory. All right. I don't understand a word of it. And so this is as far as I went. I did as much as I could, though, this time.
As far as communism goes, it looks good on paper, but it's obviously failed every single time.
But that's a long story.
But just 50,000 bearded men just said out loud, but true communism has never actually been tried.
Yes, that is the idea, and that's why we'll get there.
Next time I need a nap, one of them could talk.
Well, this happened in the mid-1970s, which was a time of extreme inequality and social unrest when crime was at levels we can barely imagine today. And a fair amount of those crimes were politically motivated. There were bombings by leftist radicals. That's the crazy thing about the 70s, is that there was so much crime in that decade that there were bombings like throughout, and nobody talks about them anymore.
Man, everyone always talks about how this is the craziest, worst time ever. It's like in the 60s, they used to kill presidents. Yeah. You know?
Oh, you mean like today is the craziest, worst time ever?
It's
like,
not.
No.
No, but the 70s were, and then the 70s made the 60s kind of look cute.
Yeah.
Because what happened after what was because at least the 60s had this sort of ideology attached to it in a way, where it had this sort of rising youth movement, where the 70s was all about the absolute abject failure of that movement and what kind of led to how that changed America into where we're at today.
Yeah, the hippie peace and love turned into coming into beer cans.
Hey, man, there ain't nothing wrong with coming into a beer can as long as that beer can is my wife.
You had racially motivated murders, both white and black. You had the KKK, you had the zebra murders, and at the highest levels of power, you had the Watergate scandal. Everybody's a fucking criminal. In the middle of all this was Patty Hearst, who became a symbol of economic inequality while also further establishing the belief in the right that America was being murdered by its young people. Now, Patty was indeed brainwashed, but not with the SLA's political ideology like many people assume. Instead, Patty was brainwashed into believing that because it appeared as if she'd fully joined the SLA, she would be gunned down on sight by the FBI if she were to ever leave. If you're asking why she didn't escape on her own when she had hundreds of chances, it's really as simple as that.
At some point during her saga with the SLA, she made several moves in order to ingratiate herself to her captors, in order to not, number one, be killed from the inside, but then in those moves, made herself optically a fucking villain. She made herself a criminal. And at that point, if if they're not negotiating and you got your family and you don't know that your family is constantly working in the background trying to find a way to find you, you believe in your mind you are fucked. You
Yeah.
are on camera with an assault rifle during a bank robbery. You know you're fucked. And guess who's not too fucking good with trigger discipline either? The FBI. And they're like, and these people, like, they're gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, she's basically an undercover agent for her own survival.
Yes.
That's actually a really fucking good way of putting it.
Yeah.
And indeed, after almost 2 years on the run from the FBI, that's years, not months, Patty was arrested and tried for the crimes in which she participated. And to be fair, there was plenty of evidence to support the opinion that she'd fully bought into the SLA's political philosophy and their terroristic tactics.
It goes real deep. She goes deep. The only, honestly, she Joaquin Phoenixed it.
In it to win it.
Yeah. She Joaquin Phoenixed it, and then unfortunately she, instead of making The Master, she made
Joker.
But what nobody knew then, and what a lot of people still don't know now, is that from nearly the beginning of her ordeal, Patty Hearst never once bought into what the SLA was selling and had one goal during her entire ordeal. Patty Hearst was only concerned with survival, and the journey she took with the SLA as a result is one of the most bizarre, fascinating, and incredible stories I've ever heard.
Besides Lord of the Rings. I still feel like Lord of the Rings is better.
It is. No, Lord of the Rings is better.
It
Yes,
is better.
It is. As far as epic journeys go, yes,
That's-
Lord of the Rings is
It's
better.
better.
And this is the Silmarillion for Patty Hearst.
Yes.
Now, in case you hadn't noticed, this is going to be a pro Patty podcast.
Sure. Anybody who wants objectivity, good luck. Because
It doesn't exist in the Patty Hearst story. It just doesn't.
This is also one of these stories where there are so many perspectives coming in on this that we are going to try to balance it, but
We're going to try to be as fair as we possibly can.
But
really.
also, anybody who tells you that they're objective is lying to you. They're fucking lying to you. This is very subjective. If you watch the CNN quote unquote top documentary of all time, you want to talk about fucking subjective?
We'll get to that here in a second.
Yeah.
I mean, our main source for this series is Patty Hearst's out-of-print autobiography, Every Secret Thing, in which every moment of her time with the SLA is documented in detail.
It's extremely readable and it's very entertaining.
Why is it out of print?
It just, some books
One
just go out of
selling it?
print.
It's very long.
Oh, okay.
It's really long, and it is detailed.
It's exhausting.
Extremely detailed. Yeah, I mean, you're following her throughout this entire journey. It is an exhausting read.
And obviously, we're covering this in this episode from her point of view. So this is all from her head. She had a whole version of this story, which is technically she did the last podcast version of the story. Like in my
Dear
she's
God.
playing them how I would play the characters in my head throughout the novel, which is hilarious.
It's not a novel. It is nonfiction.
It's nonfiction, but they don't get scary until you look from the outside.
Well, for a supplemental source used for historical context, events Patty wasn't privy to, and to get a different point of view to be as fair as possible, we used the decidedly anti-Patty Hearst book, American Heiress, written by infamous public masturbator Jeffrey Toobin.
If I ever see Jeffrey Toobin, I'll be able to thank him.
Certainly not shake his hand.
No, never. Oh, I'll be like, "Where's your fly? Let's see those hands." And then but what he did brought one of the only light moments I had during that dark time, during that COVID time when he did, saved me. So I want to thank you, Toobin, for being a public masturbator. Because if it wasn't for your limp gray penis, nothing, I don't know if I ever would have smiled in 2020. I just still thank you for that.
I just love that his last name's Tubin.
It is the act of pulling your dick out on a Zoom.
Yeah. It's my tube. I'm doing it. I'm tubing.
Yeah, it'll never get old.
yeah.
And I'll never take a word seriously you have to say ever again, Jeffrey Toobin. You're fucking done, dude. And your documentary series is a piece of shit.
Yes. For some reason, Toobin absolutely despises Patty Hearst. I think it's possible. I think it's because she declined to work with him on his book. Because she's tried to put it behind her. She wrote Every Secret Thing, and she's like, "That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm moving on. I'm gonna go be in Serial Mom and get killed by Kathleen Turner."
Hey, listen, Patty, I know I might be Jeffrey Toobin. And yeah, I might be cruising for a bruising, but I prefer to get a bit of the boobin. Yeah.
His follow-up email to her was just send nudes.
Send nudes, please. All right, sorry. Actually, totally get it. No worries. Send nudes, please.
Tubin also executive produced and featured himself as a talking head in an absolutely awful CNN series on the Patty Hearst story, which gives an offensive amount of time to a former member of the SLA who straight up says that Patty Hearst was asking for one of her sexual assaults. And then he completely ignores the other assault that occurred soon after. This dude drives the fucking narrative. This is Bill Harris. This guy, it's fucking... It's despicable. It's fucking, this CNN series is despicable.
I do want to finish it just to see maybe if he ends it with something, but it just, the first 3 episodes are miserable.
It doesn't matter.
Tubin finishes it himself.
She's guilty.
It doesn't matter if he turns it around because there's still 3 entire episodes where Bill Harris, one of Patty Hearst's kidnappers and torturers, drives the narrative.
Yes.
And paints Patty Hearst.
It's remotely entertaining any version of thought from the SLA, which we'll get to next episode. But, you know. I guess they decided they needed to take the SLA seriously to make it scary, or so, I don't know what the fuck they thought they needed.
I don't know what I think they just thought we have a member of the SLA who's willing to talk, and that's going to get ratings. I think that's the only thing they thought.
I find that it's just nice to hate CNN again.
Yes,
it is nice. But with all that in mind, let's dive into the odyssey of Patricia Campbell Hearst. Now, to really understand what the kidnapping of Patty Hearst meant,
I never put up
we've
the
got to
fishing.
understand
I
the
forgot.
place that the Hearst family occupied in the American consciousness in the 20th century. Patty's grandfather, William Randolph Hearst, was the face of media in America. He was a celebrity in his own right and was so well known that Orson Welles famously used Hearst as the inspiration for his movie
Steve never
Citizen
showed up.
Kane.
He's always
And
the one.
everybody
that, like,
knows
if
Citizen
he's fishing,
Kane
not there.
because
He's
of
like,
The
where's
Simpsons."
The fishing?
Right? It's just like one of those. where-
The Bobo episode?
I think it's that episode, and then every single, every time you've heard, well, it was bad. That's the fucking Citizen Kane thing. Love Citizen Kane.
Love it.
Surprisingly modern film for the time period that it was made.
It's unbelievable film.
But also, isn't it weird that William Randolph Hearst kind of looks like Herman Munster? But he's got a big head.
Yeah. But such was the power of William Randolph Hearst that when he just heard about Citizen Kane, he threatened
have
to
a nice
expose the
pasta?
private lives of multiple people in the film
Have some
industry in
Parmesan
his
cheese on top,
newspapers
have some
if the
spinach,
movie was
some
released.
meat.
And he came damn close to buying all prints of Citizen Kane and the negative in order to destroy the movie before anyone saw it.
And before people call that fascist or bad, just remember, that's the closest feeling that William Randolph Hearst has to vulnerability, which is that just being like, they can't know I love the sled. They can't know I have a girlfriend. Because then you look at the movie, it's like, technically, he's sad and old and mean, and he was ruthless, but also at the same time, if you're William Randolph Hearst, if I'm watching Citizen Kane, I'd be like, man, that guy's got it all figured out.
Yeah. How bad was he really?
The ultimate message of Citizen Kane is that
It's all worthless.
success is worthless.
Yeah, but
It's
still, at the same time, if he doesn't feel that, right? He doesn't know that, so he's watching the whole time and like, God damn, I'm a good actor. He doesn't even know it's him.
Do you
It's not
think
him.
he watched it?
I imagine he did
Oh
at
yeah,
some
he had
point.
to hate. Every one of these people hate. It's about him.
Yeah.
So he has to watch it.
Well, as a result of Hearst's bluster, many theaters refused to show Kane out of fear that Hearst would sue them for libel, and Hearst banned all of his newspapers from even mentioning the movie in a positive or negative light. Hearst had such influence that in an attempt to get the boss to notice him, an employee at a small local paper owned by Hearst, he attempted to frame Orson Welles as a pedophile by hiding a 14-year-old girl in his hotel room closet along with 2 photographers. Welles only avoided this scandal because a policeman warned him to not go back to the hotel.
Ooh, nasty stuff. And honestly, Kelsey, who's here helping us today, I just want to say this is a part of to be honest, the kind of commitment we're looking here at LPN, which is I actually want a list of other top podcasters and how we are going to sabotage them so that we can move towards the top. Of what? I don't even fucking know.
No, we just
getting another Webby. I don't know. I actually don't know what this leads to. I don't know where the end of this is.
We just got to get a couple of photographers that snap a picture and go, wow, what a scoop.
What a scoop!
And then fucking run out the door. But in the end, partly because people didn't understand the movie, admittedly, but mostly because Hearst decided to kill it, Citizen Kane bombed and only became known as a classic decades later. Now, the Hearsts were that particular stripe of American royalty in the sense that there was no blue blood in their family.
Yeah, didn't deserve it.
William Randolph Hearst's father was a 49er from Missouri who struck it rich in the silver mining business in California. Afterward, he became a senator despite the fact that he could barely read.
Hey, man, you gotta
my
read to
God.
pass laws.
Yeah, now that just makes you president.
Eddie! Come on, Eddie.
But once William Randolph Hearst came of age, he used his father's silver money to force his way into the media. As the line in Citizen Kane goes, I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And that's
do
why
that.
you did it.
That's why I bought stock in the Reykjavik Grapevine.
Yeah.
I did that for a week. I walked around
Oh,
going,
went the
I
long
think
way
it would be fun to run a newspaper. Even though I don't run it in any way whatsoever.
Well, that's
Who
what
you
we
taking down, man?
Dude, what we got to do as we go to Reykjavik, we have to make sure that your newspaper starts decrying us as we are this rampant, this rage of teenage chaos is going to arrive. And
Gods are coming to town.
be careful. Oh, last podcast mania might shut Reykjavik down.
Just a picture of me, just like, hide your pigs.
Got your pigs.
Hey, they ain't got no pigs, they got sheep.
Oh, well, fuck them.
And it ain't my newspaper, it's Reykjavik's newspaper.
Honestly, if there was a picture of Eddie that said hide your sheep, that means he's coming there to fuck them.
It's a bad idea.
Rise from your grave.
Now, as Citizen Kane portrays, William Randolph Hearst soon found success by selling sensationalism. And while he did have some principles, loose principles, his first goal was always to sell as many newspapers as possible. Case in point was when he began publishing op-eds from some of the most evil people of the 20th century because it was good for business. Hearst actually commissioned Benito Mussolini to write regular columns for his papers.
We're in unprecedented times. It's unprecedented times.
You know, it delighted him that the most famous Italian in the world had a byline in his papers, and Italian Americans bought papers as a result.
He was the most famous Italian?
More
They
than Chef
won-
Boyardee?
Yeah.
Name one Italian more famous than Benito Mussolini in 1936.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Famous living Italian. Maybe Rudolph Valentino.
Yeah, Romeo Spaghetti. You never met him? You never saw him? Romeo Spaghetti? He fucked underage girls through a pile of pasta. Again, time does not show a lot of favor to Romeo Spaghetti.
Mussolini, however, never actually wrote any of the columns himself. His mistress ghost wrote most of them, and even then, it was usually difficult to decipher what Mussolini was even trying to say.
Yeah. He wasn't a famous orator, was he? Mussolini. Was he did people
Yeah.
was he a funny guy?
I have pictures of him being super funny in my head, like standing on a balcony and
Okay.
yelling.
like his lip out. He just looked like he was pouting.
Yeah, he was a populist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mussolini, however, paled in comparison to the man Hearst gave an American voice to in 1930. That year, in the Sunday March of Events section, Hearst published an op-ed called Adolf Hitler's Own Story. He tells what's the matter with Germany and how he proposes to remedy it.
I like you, Adolf. You're a straight shooter. You've got a good haircut. I love the mustache.
Now, who's that?
For a time, Hitler was Hearst's favorite commentator because Hitler could produce big headlines and his copy was sharp and
let me go
decisive.
see.
I love the use of exclamation points.
And it also sold papers to a lot of German immigrants. The only problem was that Hitler was shit for making deadlines. But still willing to give the Nazis a shot, Hearst replaced Hitler with Hermann Goring.
No, well,
the
you know,
second highest ranking Nazi.
that's
It's like, send the
that's
message
guy that
again,
you
'cause it
would
didn't
bring
show
in,
up.
right? Because he's the guy that wrote for the Nazis.
When I just
Hearst,
loaded.
well, no,
Twitch.
that Goring, he wasn't the propaganda minister. That was
Goebbels?
Goebbels, yeah.
Yeah. So what did Goring do?
He was second in command. He ran the Luftwaffe, and he was just Hitler's like guy.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, he did a lot of really awful shit too.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
he was sentenced to hanging
Yeah,
in the Nuremberg trial.
I don't think he was the fun one. But I'm just saying, they had writers.
Yeah, I know. It's like I could do the
What's
thing.
his last name?
I didn't even notice. I
Goring,
was like,
that's it.
dang.
That's
But it's not
good idea.
spelled the same way.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. Killed himself with a cyanide capsule the day he was supposed
Ultimately,
to
it
be
doesn't matter if we don't get every
Pussy.
spot because
Hearst
of how
even went to Germany to meet with
Powerwash
Hitler
Sim
after
is.
some of
As long
Hearst's
as we
Jewish
get the
friends, particularly
majority,
film
at some point
executive
it's all
Louis B.
like, okay,
Mayer,
it's good.
They
And then get
expressed
through
some
the rest for
concerns.
you.
Yeah, we feel like there might be. We just gotta feel. We feel like your buddy's out of pocket.
Yeah. But all Hitler said about his treatment of the Jews, all he said to Hearst, it was basically,
Don't worry, it'll all be over soon enough.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, so you got it covered.
And it's this look, because you know how Hitler loved that look, that sheepish, like.
I don't see the look over Telegram.
no, Hearst chose to take this statement in a manner that I'd call willfully positive.
Ah, well, good. Yeah, he's like, excellent. Exactly as I imagined.
And he continued tacitly supporting the Nazi regime because Hitler's columns sold papers. Hearst would finally be forced to speak out against Hitler after the events of Kristallnacht in 1938, but even then his criticism was lukewarm at best.
Mostly about how it was a waste of glass and windows, and how sad it would be for the coming winter months.
That's all to say, of course, that William Randolph Hearst was not necessarily a beloved figure in the minds of the
I
American
try to take a
people.
bite and then
And
play
the
some more.
Hearst name became associated with both ruling class arrogance and over-the-top opulence, as was portrayed in Citizen Kane.
Well, his fucking house was a famous. San Simeon would become this it's this otherworldly castle.
Yeah.
In the middle of the California countryside. It is gorgeous, but you also wonder why they thought you were some kind of alien, right, from the outside, because you're literally living like an old school European, like royal family inside of the United States of America.
That's interesting because weren't they building Hitler a castle in California?
That's another crew. That was Lindbergh's baby.
Oh, okay.
He was running that whole thing. That's what I didn't find out actually. Also, until I started reading into the Lindbergh baby thing, the baby was the Nazi.
Oh, so the baby was the one who convinced the father to be the Nazi?
I'm pretty certain that Lindbergh's baby did I believe, the contract negotiation between Hitler and William Randolph Hearst for the amount of words deliverable.
Yeah.
And set the deadlines and did a lot of the templating, which I saw was very strange.
Getting his hands dirty.
Oh yeah, and his little gonna goo goo gaga, and then he would do something about how and then he said juju no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like weird.
And
Juju no.
they loved working with the baby because he looked like a talking bratwurst.
They give him little licks. I was just making sure you're a person.
Now, when William Randolph Hearst reached the end of his life in 1951, he found that he had not raised worthy heirs. Many of his sons were alcoholics, none did well in school, and most were living lives of leisure as playboys and layabouts.
Awesome.
This, of course, included Patty Hearst's father, Randy. Now, Randy had also taken up the newspaper business as a career, but he was boss more in name than in practice because he'd just pop into the paper every once in a while to see how everything was going, then say bye-bye.
Has there ever been a responsible Randy?
No, no, I don't think
What's
so.
the name? The dude, the pitcher, the big tall pitcher.
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson,
Yeah,
responsible.
the
He
bird
showed up.
killer.
Yeah. He showed up at every game he was supposed to. He showed up in practice. He killed those birds just like he promised his father he would.
And were you ever disappointed by a Randy Newman song?
No, I love Randy
Yes.
Newman. And Randy Bachman, okay, we're okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's it. Randy Bachman saves me. I don't like Randy Newman.
You don't like Randy Newman?
Nah,
we can
he's
fight
smug.
about this later.
I think he's smug.
He's got every right to be smug.
But Randy Hearst was a family man. He married his wife, Catherine, at the age of 19. He had 5 kids, and he actually raised them himself. His favorite was the middle child, Patty.
Oh, yeah. Patty was a lot of fun.
Yeah, everyone loved Patty. Now, Patty was raised in a mansion in the old money area of San Francisco, where they had a live-in maid and a governess. She described her childhood in her book as happy and affluent but sheltered, which is a bit of an understatement.
She had no idea that there was a world outside.
No, this is a woman who grew up with an actual castle as her summer home, the famous San Simeon property, which was once the home of the world's largest private zoo and is now an actual tourist attraction owned by the state of California. You can still see like zebras in the California countryside
Have you ever been?
that escaped
No,
from
I
the
haven't.
zoo.
When you drive, it's these like switchback roads up to it, and the way it was made to look super. Honestly, like it's far off. It looks farther in the distance than it is because you're driving these kind of like switchback things up, and it's like a fairy tale. You slowly watch this castle like crest over as wild zebras feed on the grass all around it. And apparently the goal for a long time was that no one know exactly where the castle itself was. So he would have people, like when you went to go visit the Hearst mansion, Hearst Castle, what he would do is you'd get a letter that's saying, you wouldn't know, but you'd get a letter that says from William Randolph Hearst and be like, you're coming over to the house. And so you'd be like, all right. And so a guy would show up and pick you up at the house, or you'd meet at somewhere down below in the bottom of the property, and he'd have somebody else come and take you so that no one would actually know how to properly get up to the castle itself.
Yeah.
Now, why did they give it to California? Did they sell it to California?
They gave it to. They gave the land because it sat on something over like 275 acres. Like it was this huge stretch of land that they just slowly but surely sold off chunks to the state government.
And this castle was all like he'd throw these massive Hollywood parties
Yeah,
there
I know
because he was
about that.
because he was friends with every nasty boy in Hollywood, like
Oh,
Charlie
yeah.
Chaplin.
Well, he
Ooh.
had fingers in every single pie. You know, slit,
tongues in many soups.
Tongues in many soups because he liked getting inside information on people. That's how he controlled people. And what he would do is he had this big long table, and then you'd sit at the center. He'd be at the center, and how you knew how he liked you is that you'd be close to the center at the table. But then slowly but surely, the more you get invited, the closer you get to the outside of the table until eventually you're not invited anymore. And so that's like how you knew how he didn't want to talk to you.
Did you guys ever see Mank?
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Now, when they got older, Patty and her sisters all went to Catholic school. But while Patty was rebellious enough to tell a nun to go to hell, she was not by any stretch an out-of-control, spoiled rich brat. In fact, she bucked her socialite mother's expectations of being just another rich wife and even considered changing her name because of the connotations it held.
I wouldn't even say she was that like special of a rebellious kid in that way. You were saying she really was just kind of in LA. You meet some of these people.
She was,
right?
she was of course very rich, but she was also just a very normal girl.
Yes, and
Very normal young woman.
If you went to any affluent city in the United States of America and went to any one of these fancy neighborhoods where like people went to sort of like cosplay being like regular. You know what I mean?
there
They
we
have a
go.
lot of money, and they're going to go out to like some area where like in Brooklyn. If we got rid of all the people faking that they weren't for money, the place would be empty.
Also, like someone's got to pick up the tab.
Focus on eating.
With that being
sooner.
said, Patty Hearst had grown up so incredibly wealthy that she didn't have a great idea of what it was like outside of her bubble, nor did she really know how to just be a regular person out in the world. Like she didn't know how to set up she didn't know how to like call up the electric company, set up bills. Patty needed a bridge, and that came in the form of a teacher named Stephen Weed, whom Patty started dating when she was 17 and he was 23.
Oh, but he was cool. His last name's Weed.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Look how young my girlfriend is, man.
Dude. Fucking, you know what's crazy, man? Is fucking sometimes when I'm kissing her, I imagine if she was a little egg.
Oh,
I mean,
what?
like, how small can you fucking be, dude? But Stephen
Anyway,
Weed,
back to class.
back to me being a full.
weed.
It's about me being a full adult. Stephen Weed, he's a creep.
Yeah. Stephen Weed was a math professor
use
who
the
ran a
cat
music
anywhere?
workshop at Crystal Springs School, which was basically a finishing school to prepare young girls for a life of opulence.
Yeah, I go there a lot of times, and they'd call me like, all right, welcome to Alabaster Skin Class 101. First of all, here's a bucket of mayonnaise. Rub it on yourself, you worthless pigs. None of you are soft enough. That's what you got to do, man. You got to get these debutantes into shape. Let's see them nipples. Let's go. We're learning how to make spring rolls. All right, now we're doing my taxes.
Steve met Patty as a guitar tutor, and even though the age difference is fucking very creepy and definitely inappropriate, they started dating and got more serious after Patty's first year in college. As could be expected from a guy in his 20s who dates girls still in high school, Steve soon became difficult, arrogant, and condescending.
They're always like that.
Yep.
It's always like, man, he's so cool. And then all of a sudden he's like, you start doing stuff where you think it's cool to act like a wife at home. She's starting to do that, sort of like mothering him, and he's really excited about that. And then he really reverts to a childlike state, even though he's much older than her.
Yep. But even so, even though they were having problems, they still decided to get a place together in Berkeley, California after Steve won a fellowship at UC.
At the Bong Sciences Department.
Now, Berkeley at the time was a place that was dealing with the aftermath of the 60s, not unlike how nearby Haight-Ashbury had, in just a few short years, devolved from a hippie paradise into a place where heroin addiction, pimps, and conmen like Charles Manson thrived. Patty, however, was thrilled to be living somewhat independently, and even though she had her doubts about Steve, she liked the idea of being married.
Playing adult. She wanted to, she saw it. Like, you know, we hear people talk about it all the time. Natalie talks about how when she dated a man that was 20 years older than her, and she felt super mature because he fed the line of how mature and ready you are and how amazing and special you are.
So, when Stephen asked for her hand in marriage, she said yes at the age of 19, which is the same age her father was when he got married. The engagement was announced in a Hearst newspaper on December 19th, 1973, but unbeknownst to anyone, that announcement would change the course of history, for it was quickly noticed by the Symbionese Liberation Army.
Oh, man, we need a Jimi Hendrix guitar snare. Like, we need, like, some
These
kind of,
fucking assholes and idiots don't deserve Hendrix.
Well, because right now we're from the outside. The way I'm viewing the series is like we're on the outside now. So to this point, the SLA, like, they're going to look pretty scary.
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Now, we're going to get into the full story of the SLA in episode 2, but the broad strokes are that the SLA was a small militant black revolutionary group that basically operated as a cult. As Henry told me earlier, think Charles Manson, but with left-wing politics instead of pure nonsense.
Yes, and it comes from the same spot. It comes from someone that was also institutionalized by the United States government.
The only hitch about the SLA being a black revolutionary group, however...
This is a big hitch, though. Yeah, I would say, honestly.
Yeah, was that out of the 10 members, only one of them, the leader, was actually black.
Yeah.
The other 9, lily white.
And they just became more white. You know what I mean? As the time went. It kind of reminds me about how when we did West Side Stories in my high school, and they decided that everybody with that, because we had no Hispanic students, that anybody with dark hair. In Queens? No, this is in Florida. By the time I was in Florida, I was in West Side Story.
You didn't have any Hispanics?
Not in the theater department.
In Florida?
I obviously was on the white team because I'm translucent. But then everybody else was all the Italians.
You were a jet, but you were a jumbo jet.
No, I was Snow Boy.
Oh yeah, that's great. Good for you.
Well, the white people in the SLA wanted to be black so badly that one guy, Bill Harris, a.k.a. Teco, this is the guy that was in the fucking CNN series, he was known to sometimes pound the floor with his fists, yelling, quote,
Oh God, how I wish I were black. Oh God,
What?
how I wish I were black. I wish it were me. Can I be black? Can I close my eyes and open up these white lids and see a black skin underneath, please? I get it. I do this sometimes in casting offices.
I mean, basically, it's a cult full of Rachel Dolezals with guns.
Oh, yeah. It is wild, man, because whew.
Now, the SLA were never really an organization known for their brilliant plans and schemes, but they figured that they could kidnap someone important and trade them for the release of 2 members of their group that they felt had been wrongly imprisoned.
And we'll get into next week why they thought that would be a viable plan.
Now, they had a long list of names, but they eventually settled on Patty Hearst after seeing the engagement announcement. This was not just because of what the Hearst family name meant in American society. That was important, but it was also because Patty's living situation in a bad neighborhood in Berkeley made the kidnapping extraordinarily easy. And so, on the night of February 4th, 1974, Patty Hearst and Stephen Weed settled in for the evening.
Yeah, let's fucking count our nugs before we go to sleep, Patty. Because if not, you know the nug fairy comes and fucking chiefs half your shit, man. So when the nug fairy comes, you gotta say, I got exactly 34 nugs in here, and I'm counting, bitch. All right.
Could somebody tie my shoes?
Oh, shit. Because every time I go to fucking tie them, man, all I see is noodles, man. This is freaking me out, dude. I'm stupid.
Steve was planning on a nice evening of TV. He had a double feature. He was gonna watch Mission Impossible, and then he was gonna watch a TV show called The Magician. Patty, meanwhile, was studying at the table, wearing her in-for-the-night outfit, a bathrobe and underwear. Little did she know that these would be her only clothes in the weeks to come. Now, at 9 p.m. that night, the doorbell rang on Patty and Steve's second-floor apartment. Steve opened the door to find a young, agitated white woman. This was SLA member Angela Atwood, a.k.a. Jelena. She told Steve that she'd backed into a car downstairs and she needed to use Steve's phone.
Hi, is this Mr. Weed? I saw it here on your doorbell here. I've had the most horrible set of circumstances.
I'm going to stop you right there. It's Professor Weed.
Oh, I didn't know I was talking to a professor. I should have seen and noticed by your weed-like smell in your small glasses.
Immediately forgiven.
Yes. Well, you have to know, I'm a bit of an emergency situation.
Jelena was a former actor.
They're all. Guess what I've learned about all of them? All theater majors.
Really?
Did you know this? Oh, we're waiting to next week. The entire crew, the whole three of them that joined up with the first three, they're all theater.
Mm-hmm. Before Steve even had a chance to answer Jelena, the door flung open and he was soon faced with two armed men, one black and one white. After them came Jelena, who backed Patty into the kitchen stove and pointed an automatic pistol in her face.
You better watch yourself, little girlie, before I turn you into human glue.
Is an automatic pistol a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never. Oh, you did like RoboCop.
Yeah.
Like RoboCop.
I don't know. I'm probably going to get some. Maybe it's a semi-automatic pistol.
It's a gun.
yeah.
It's a gun.
It's a really dangerous fucking gun.
It's a gun that Jelena shouldn't have had.
No, for sure. I'm sorry, I got caught up on the wrong detail.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
You probably saved us like 20 emails from a bunch of fucking gun nerds.
I still don't know what means by like
Jelena then
automatic
clamped her
and
hand
like
over Patty's
semi-automatic
mouth
mean.
and told her to be quiet and nobody will get hurt.
I'm in the movies. It's like it's cool. I'm a little revolutionary.
Meanwhile, Stephen Weed had been pushed to the floor and was being kicked repeatedly by the white guy.
Nah, man, my fucking show just started. Oh, man.
And this would be the last good thing they would ever do.
Man, listen, dude. The fucking magician was about to pull all the rags out of his sleeve.
The guy kicking him was the aforementioned Teco. Steve actually thought at first that Teco was black because Teco talked in an affected black voice, as did many members of the SLA.
Henry, what did it sound like?
I actually was going to wait for next episode because there's a couple. It is really funny because they talk about it with each one. It's like, that's what's fucking hard. Is that like, well, I don't even want to get, I have a breakdown for this.
But once both Steve and Patty were down on the ground, the actual black guy started asking him, where's the safe, over and over again, because he was under the impression that every rich person in the world had a safe in their home.
There's a safe in every single fucking hotel room. There's lots of places.
The man yelling about the safe was career criminal Donald DeFries, a.k.a. Sinque Mtube, a.k.a. Sin. Sin was the leader of the SLA, and the only black guy in this black revolutionary militant group.
You listen to me, you ever-loving fellas. All right? There doesn't need to be one more black fella in this group, right? Because you got the number one guy. Me, Sin Kid. I don't you worry about it. All right? I'm the blackest man you've ever met.
That's how you stay in charge. It's job security.
We're going to get into that in the next episode. You're exactly right.
Yep.
It's so fucking stupid.
This is the problem, man, is I don't want to even get into it. Right now, we have to remember, Marcus, the SLA is scary right now. It's scary right now.
They can never at any point be scary to me.
I know, but we have to pretend like they're scary right now because we're going to find out that they're stupid soon.
Well, the thing is that they are scary. They are very, very scary to Patty Hearst.
Of course.
And will remain terrifying to Patty Hearst throughout.
Till the end, yes.
Now, Patty and Steve didn't have a safe, but Sin's insistence that there was a safe made it seem like this was probably a robbery and would be over soon enough. But then Patty's hands were tied behind her back, a knotted rag was stuffed in her mouth, and a blindfold was wrapped around her eyes and tied behind her head. But Steve, even after being hit over the head with a bottle of wine and kicked and hit in the face repeatedly...
We're supposed to drink that.
Is that my palm?
Fucking don't hurt my palm.
He managed to get his hands free before rushing out to the patio to get help.
Help.
That's when he noticed no one was running after him. That's because the SLA were too busy dragging Patty the other way, out the front door. She'd spit out the gag and was screaming for help because she was now fully aware what was actually going down. Her neighbors came outside to see what was going on, so one of the kidnappers let out a burst of gunfire from their automatic weapon in response.
Not subtle.
No. By this time, Stephen Weed had made it to a neighbor's apartment and was pounding on the door begging for help.
Any nugs to help me get inspired to go to the police, please? Emergency nugs needed.
I need to fucking chill to the max, man. This is so much pressure.
I can't handle this, dude. My fucking rich-ass girlfriend's got a fucking kidnapping problem, man.
But Patty had already been tossed in the trunk of the car. The lid was closed, and just before the car sped off with Patty inside, one of the kidnappers let loose with one last burst of gunfire for good measure.
Now they'll know we have bullets. She also said that she was having dreams about getting kidnapped. I find that real. I feel like it was just in the air because there was
Getty,
a case.
too. Was that around this time?
Yeah, the Getty kidnapping was the year before.
Ah, so it's blatantly inspired.
Well, we're going to get into the Getty kidnapping next week.
There's a lot of inspirations, but she was having prophetic dreams. But she was saying that she had this feeling that something was going to happen. But I realize now, you know what it was? And she said so much kind of after the fact. It was like because she was actively being tailed, and they were watching where she was going. And sometimes, and this is great for my friends with OCD out there, is that sometimes when you're super paranoid thinking that somebody's following you, they are. Actually, completely a total real scenario. And they are coming to kill you.
That's why I walk in zigzags.
Always. I taught you that. Serpentine. Walk like a cat. Jump like a dog.
After a short drive, Patty was transferred to the backseat of another car, and she sat in abject terror listening to her kidnappers congratulate each other on how smoothly their operation had gone.
You were so scary. You were so good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did do good, right? Yeah, baby.
You got all your lines right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll rehearse. Yeah.
They also had all the windows rolled down, ready to, quote, shoot it out with the pigs if they needed to. Because all of these people are all ready to die at any second. They're begging for it.
Oh, this is the story of a group of people heading towards total annihilation.
Yep. But after anywhere between an hour and 3 hours, Patty was really fuzzy on the time. She found herself being led up a flight of stairs and down a series of hallways. Now, at first, Patty was terrified that she'd meet the same fate as kidnapping victim Barbara Jane Mackey. Mackey was a 20-year-old college student who'd been kidnapped in 1968 and was buried alive in a coffin on an isolated hillside in Georgia for 83 hours before her father paid a ransom of $500,000.
No, thank you.
No. But while Patty didn't go in a coffin, her
Heard noises
reality
from a bunny,
wasn't far
and I was
off.
worried for a second. But
She
we're
was
good.
soon thrown into a walk-in closet, 6 feet long and 2 feet wide, modified so it could only be opened from the outside. It was filthy and stank from the old carpet and padding that had been used to soundproof the space, giving it the feel of a cell at an insane asylum. Soon after she was thrown inside, the door flew open and a member of the SLA placed a small radio inside with the volume turned all the way up so Patty couldn't hear what her kidnappers were saying, and so she would be disoriented even further.
So at the very beginning, so what we said this, like, they're very frightened. You have these people who mean a lot of business. She's now watched her husband get the shit beat out of him.
Fiance.
Fiance's a piece of shit. It's a dumb name. It's a stupid role.
Mrs. Weed.
Mrs. Weed, man.
I mean, that's actually kind of
dude,
great.
Patty Weed?
Dude,
Yes,
man.
Yeah, that's a Peanuts character, man.
Yeah, dude, high as hell, learning no lessons, man. But she's traumatized, and then the way it begins is extremely like. They seem like they're very capable.
Yeah.
And they are, like, they have a full-on, like there's an agenda here.
Yeah. A few hours later, the leader of the SLA opened the door and told Patty that his name was Senkyu Ntume, and he was the fifth prophet and the general field marshal of the Symbionese Liberation Army. Now, as soon as Patty heard the name Symbionese Liberation Army, she knew she was in trouble. While she did admit to being blind to most inequalities in American society at this time, she still read the news and she remembered the headlines the SLA had already made. The reason why two of their members were in jail was because just 4 months earlier, the SLA had executed the superintendent of the Oakland Unified School District in the school's parking lot, a guy named Marcus Foster.
And that was not a good move.
It was a bad move.
It was a bad move because as we come from the other direction next week, you'll see why they made this move. But they really shit the bed.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you're going to be a revolutionary group, bit of advice. Those first couple, like, roundabouts, those first couple engagements.
Like your first headline?
Yeah, dude. Super crucial.
Yeah.
To how everybody's going to view you for the rest of the time. And you really got to start off on the right foot.
Yeah. Well, the murder had received widespread condemnation and bafflement from other black revolutionary groups because Marcus Foster was not only black, but a symbol of success in the community because he was the first black superintendent of a large American city school district. The SLA had murdered him because they didn't agree with some policies he was merely entertaining, not even implementing.
And a lot of it was conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Like of what he was
And
reading.
paranoia.
And paranoia. Like he was basically was about creating an ID system for children in the elementary school system. And then he extrapolated it, Syncuse extrapolated to this concept that they were going to be bringing police officers in to monitor the everyday activity of children. Because he kind of had he thought it was this slippery slope of, they're going to start tracking the kids, kind of like in a Mark of the Beast style / police state. The kids are going to come and the cops are going to be teaching the kids classes and stuff. And he doesn't know the cops are lazy. They're not going to do that. They're not going to teach classes. If I was a cop and then I was forced to watch and like be in charge of an elementary school, like it's like class, we're going to watch Dumb and Dumber. You know what I mean? Like, all right, looks like old Officer Zabrowski's going to put on one of his favorite documentaries. Yeah, watch the Charles Larry Christmas.
You know how mad they must have been when he wasn't killed by the KKK?
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Soon after, two members of the SLA were arrested for the crime. Russell Little, a.k.a. Osi, and Joseph Ramiro, a.k.a. Bo. But even though Patty knew exactly who she was dealing with, she thought it would be best if she feigned ignorance.
Perfect.
Yes. This, of course, bruised Sin's ego, and he proudly and angrily gave Patty the SLA's entire resume, including the murder of Marcus Foster. They're still very proud of this. He still thinks that he's done a wonderful thing for killing this superintendent.
Because where we're at right now in the SLA's life, we're into the Charles Manson section of we are going to have to ramp up the rhetoric in order for me to keep the cult.
Sin then told Patty that she was a prisoner of war because she was the daughter of Randolph A. Hearst, a corporate enemy of the people. But since she was a prisoner of war, she was going to be treated according to Geneva Convention guidelines.
And she wasn't.
Sin asked her if she had any religious medals on her person, explaining that under the Geneva Convention, she could hold on to any religious medals but had to forego every other item to the SLA.
Yes, I worship this gun.
Yeah. Thank you, Saint Barnabas's
It was like,
gun.
I worship this God, and their
Protection that you give me
religious
each
symbol
night.
just
And,
happens to be
thank
machete.
you, the
I'm
bullets
sorry.
of the Virgin Mary.
Oh, holy night.
But since Patty was wearing only her bathrobe and underwear, she thought for the first of many times that the person talking to her might be insane. Now, this was about half true, because it's hard to tell how much Sin actually believed in what he was about to tell Patty, although it's most likely he was just trying to make himself sound more impressive than he actually was. See, during the kidnapping, Patty had been hit in the face with the butt of a rifle and had been cut, scraped, and bruised by the rough treatment she'd received between her apartment and the SLA's closet. For those wounds, Sin promised that an SLA doctor would soon arrive, but their medical team was, at that moment, very busy.
We got a lot going on, a lot of different stuff there, madam. All right, so you got to know, it's like we got armed fronts. We're fighting in Alaska right now. Did you know that the snowmen were conservative? And then we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of places. Toledo, Milwaukee, a lot of places. We got Seattle. Some people needed Band-Aids in Seattle, so we had to send them out super last minute for some crucial Band-Aids. Well, I gotta go.
Well, Sin claimed that other SLA combat teams had captured 5 other prisoners that night across the state of California. The SLA, he said, was a huge army that had intelligence and medical units in addition to their ground troops, and that it was all financially backed by supporters of the revolution.
And you can bet your buttons on that, little miss. All right? Because no hardcore fellas such as myself who just got out of the pen aren't going to mess
That was
around
blinding.
with no half measures, you little woman.
accidentally
All
pressed
right?
tab.
So you better cross your T's and dot them I's when it comes down to it, because if not, Miss Buster Brown, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to, oh, you better watch it. Oh, I got to go. I got to go make sure I'm sending the SLA doctors to Baton Rouge. Yeah, Jessica's out of control. Yeah, I got to get out of here.
He then added that the SLA was linked internationally to the countries of Ireland,
Yep.
the Philippines, and Puerto Rico.
The whole country.
Which are all known for how many black people they have.
Yeah. The blacks of Ireland, you wouldn't even believe.
Yeah, Ireland.
The type of crazy loco fellas we got in Ireland. What these guys are doing, they are keeping it real, my friend.
And even though Puerto Rico is not, as we all know, a country.
No,
No,
Finally, Sin
it's a
told-
vibe.
not since 1897.
Finally, Sin told her that if she behaved herself, she wouldn't be mistreated, but if she dared make a sound or even touch the closet door, she'd be strung up from the ceiling like a dead pig. She was then left there in the dark, blindfolded with her hands tied.
And don't you mess with me, all right? Because I'm a cranky MFer, all right? Have a good night.
Love you.
Now, the next day, Sin was furious that the papers hadn't printed anything about the kidnapping of Patty Hearst. In his view, this was not a kidnapping at all, but an arrest. So he decided to send a so-called arrest warrant to the media. Issued by the Court of the People, the statement said that any attempt to rescue Patty would result in her execution, and this and any further communications had to be published in full in all newspapers, and any failure to do so would endanger the safety of the prisoner. The statement ended with the now infamous sign-off,
Death to the fascist insect that preys upon the life of the people.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, you got to say it in a military. You're allowed to with the glasses.
Sure. Death to the fascist insect that preys upon the life of the people.
Yeah, that it felt that a lot better.
Yeah,
Hey,
that-
all
yeah.
right, now there. Hey, you mind your P's and Q's, all right? Because we're calling for the death to the fascist insect. It preys upon the life of the people, and that's got to stop.
And our first person to do it is Sergeant Orkin.
I will not let that stand.
Now, almost immediately, Sin began drilling the thought into Patty's head that if the FBI were to show up at the SLA safe house, the SLA would kill her first, then shoot their way out or die trying, because all of them would rather die than go to prison. But when he wasn't telling her all the ways she could be killed, Sin lectured Patty in a phony, formal tone of voice, as if he were a judge or a general. His words, of course, barely made any sense, or at least they didn't make sense to someone from Patty's background.
Or to a lot of people.
Yes.
Because I can already tell what he's doing, which is he's saying a lot of very intense left-wing words. None of them mean any of the way that they say it. The word always means something else from the way they use it. And it's confusing. And then it feels, in many ways, as if the information is being held from me. And I do wish, because I'm not a dumb man.
Well, what you just said is systemic.
I'm not a dumb man. I try to read. And I feel like I'm gullible enough to be gotten.
Yeah.
You know? Because I go in there 110%.
You always do.
And I leave me behind. And I go into the work. And I still don't really understand what dialectical materialism is. But I know that it's a thing. But I know he said a lot of words that he did at first to sort of, I do believe it's a tactic. I believe that it's a tactic to be like, look how official we are. We have all of these crazy terms and all of this terminology and these meanings why and the validations.
But Sin wasn't the only featured speaker. Every member of the SLA took every opportunity to lecture Patty, sometimes opening the door to ask her if she wanted to go to the bathroom, then immediately launching into a diatribe about Marxism before she even had a chance to answer.
And this happens everywhere you try to go to the bathroom with communists. but it is interesting. I find it interesting, but it's like, let me shit.
Yeah. Finally, though, Sin told Patty the reason why she'd been kidnapped, or at least the loose reason why.
Loose principle.
2 of their comrades have been held in a pig's prison, Sin said, and the SLA was going to trade her for them.
May!
In the meantime, the SLA was going to treat Patty exactly how their comrades were being treated in San Quentin.
Yeah, and we're not going to be playing no hopscotch, and we ain't going to be playing no jump rope, little miss. All right? So you better get your head on straight, and you better be thinking about communism by the time I get back, all right?
And tomorrow we got Johnny Cash books.
He's so mad about it, he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play. He hates it, all right? Good night, I love you.
Now, over the next few days, Patty settled into what she hoped would be a short, if torturous, ordeal. She learned how to eat blindfolded and sat through...
Because that's important to remember. She was blindfolded. That's the one thing I don't know if we've said.
Yeah.
Is that she was permanently blindfolded.
Yes.
And she kept it on. And they also, like... This is part of also the reasons why she was like, they might be fucking stupid. Because he kept saying stuff like, she had to keep it on in the closet no matter what.
Yeah.
And so she was taking it off every once in a while. They would let her take it off to bathe, where they would wear a mask sometimes, and she'd be able to take it off. But then she was noticing it was like blinding her, because essentially she was days at a time with no light.
Also, it's just like, it has to like give you like weird like
It does.
sores.
Rashes.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Now, she learned how to eat blindfolded, and she sat through so-called interrogations conducted by Sen, who wanted to know as many details about her father and his financials as Patty could tell him.
How many slides does he have? All right, how many llamas? How many carousels? I want to know. That sounds amazing.
Working llamas or pets?
That's incredible. I wish I had access to that many llamas. You know what I'd do with that many llamas? I'd run a llama communist university. All right? You should be so lucky.
The answer is 4, 15, and 3.
That's all I needed to know.
See, Sen was under the impression that Randy Hurst was a member of the Committee of 40, which Sen believed was a super-secret, high-level group of businessmen and corporate executives who were also CIA agents. And it was this committee who told the president what to do at all times.
Just know that as soon as you hear the term Committee of 40, you don't have to listen to a single thing that he says ever again. Just remember, that's like one of those things. You're like, you're wrong.
Yeah. Little did Sen know that Randy Hurst barely even showed up to the job he had most of the time.
Yeah, dude, that's what rich people do.
And after days of interrogation, Patty just told Sen that her father made, I don't fucking know, $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And since that was a nice round number, Sen's like, Cool, $1 million a year. Sounds right.
Must be.
Yeah.
Yeah. $1 million, huh? Yeah. I bet that's chump change for your daddy. Well, how about, well, I make $5 million. You're like, is that what I was supposed to say? Is that how I was supposed to react?
Rise from your grave.
It didn't take long for Patty to learn each SLA member by voice because, again, as we said, she was almost never allowed to take off her blindfold in those early weeks. While Sin was always recognizable as the meanest male voice, Patty also heard a sharp, cold female voice that sounded, as she said it, like a school marm.
And they all had fake voices. I'm not doing the real Sin voice.
Yeah.
The real Sin voice is that he was an African American, but he also pretended to have sort of like an Indian island accent as well. He faked that.
Yep.
Because he was from Cleveland.
Yep.
What does an Indian island sound like?
Well, the school marm voice was often paired with a jumpy, nervous male voice who repeatedly tried, unsuccessfully, to sound like a black guy.
Yeah, you fools.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, all right?
I like sneakers.
No, I certainly like sneakers.
Well, the nervous fella was the aforementioned Teco, while the school marm was his wife, Emily, a.k.a. Yolanda. Patty learned the names of
Yolanda!
the rest of the SLA members, or at least their aliases. Those aliases, no shit, they were the white SLA members' reborn Swahili African names adopted for the revolution.
Oh, God, I wish I was black. Oh, God, I wish I could be black. Oh, please.
Shut up. If I give you a black name, will you shut the fuck up?
Yeah, I guess it's okay. What kind of black name?
It's fucking Swahili. I don't know.
Cool.
Do you know anyone else named Swahili?
Wow. What part of black is that?
Well, apart from Yolanda's hard tone and Teco's nervous faux black accent, there was also the friendly, sing-songy theatrical voice of the aforementioned Jelena, who often giggled and had studied to become an actor before joining the SLA.
If you have a hard time memorizing these communist terms, you'd have an even harder time doing Sondheim a cappella.
Because of her theater background, she'd make over-the-top, ridiculous disguises for the SLA to wear anytime they left the safe house using her professional makeup kit.
Look, now I'm an old woman with a little bit of gray hair. Now I'm an old man with long, droopy balls. I attach to my labias. Ooh, and now I'm a dog. A ruff, a bark. One can be
Still got the
anything.
balls, though.
Yeah. One can be anything if you're in the theater.
Well, she'd previously been in a relationship with one of the SLA's arrested comrades, but now Jelena spent most of her nights sleeping with Sin. Patty also got to know the voice of Patricia Soltysik, who had legally changed her name to Ms. Moon, that's Mizmoon,
White people.
before adopting the so-called Swahili name of Zoya. Zoya was an ardent bisexual second-wave feminist who preached that women could be just as strong, macho, and violent as men were.
She was the real frightening one.
Yeah. As the lectures continued day and night, Patty also met Fahiza, the SLA's second-in-command, the one who worshipped Sin like a god. But unlike Teco, Fahiza actually sounded black. So Patty was surprised to later find out that Fahiza was actually a white woman from Orange County named Nancy.
She was surprised that they were all white. And it was just the truth. And she was just like, wow. She was really surprised when she got a good look at everybody.
Patty also came to know Willie Wolf, a.k.a. Kajo, who
Not Cujo.
who mostly talked about Vacaville Prison. That was where both Ed Kemper and Charles Manson would eventually be held. Since Vacaville is where the state sends prisoners with psychiatric issues, Patty assumed Kajo was himself mentally disturbed.
No. You would be surprised how mentally well I could be.
In reality, Kajo was just a big fat idiot who often ate so much he gave himself a tummy ache.
Oh, no.
So far, is the only appealing character.
Can't somebody stop me? Because it's going to get to the point where I'm going to be too big for the revolution.
I mean, I literally did this yesterday.
I'm too big for it. You know how many tunnels we got to go through with the little bamboo sticks we got to whittle?
They'd actually have meetings where they're like, Kaju is eating too much.
I don't know how to stop. I'm nervous. It's hard out here. It's a lot. We're in a war.
Patty later described him as an overgrown, awkward high school senior with short hair dyed a hideous red that didn't match his facial features at all. But since Kajo was big, he actually towered over Sin. And even though Kajo was soft-spoken and unimpressive in every way, Sin would still arch his back and try to appear taller when standing next to him. And then
Always go shorter.
always go
fragile
shorter.
It shows you're more
masculinity.
And then there was poor Camilla, the saddest member of the group that no one particularly liked.
No.
Is she the maid?
No,
They might have liked her if she did shit.
what was her name? Gabby? Yeah, she
Yeah,
went by
Gabby.
Gabby. She was heavy-set, physically weak, and totally uncoordinated. She was also Zoya's ex-girlfriend and had a fantasy of one day organizing an army of homosexuals to violently rise up against the establishment. Now, Patty soon figured out that the reason why all 7 SLA members constantly lectured her was because no one else was listening to them. And in Patty's words, she was literally a captive audience.
They got to the point where they were so excited just to talk to her because she was somebody new that they started opening up the closet just to be like, you need some air? Just so you know. So Mark's actually blah, blah, blah. And they would start talking more and more into their leftist, like, theology shit.
But they'd open it just a crack. Like,
Yeah.
they wouldn't open it up all the way.
You know there were times.
theory.
You know there were times when she just pretended to be asleep.
Of course. But she actually did an extremely good job, which is, remember this, and this is a good lesson for our audience to hear. If you're dealing with an aggressive idiot, always say yes. Nod and move close to push away.
Well, but in listening to them talk, Patty soon figured out that the only way out was through. She decided to humor them, listening to everything they said and doing whatever they asked. And she hoped that somehow, sometime, she would be rescued before they decided to kill her. Now, the exchange of Patty for their comrades in San Quentin soon became a secondary goal for the SLA. They decided that as a show of good faith, they would have Randy Hurst feed the poor. Just generally feed the poor. And if Sin found Hurst's action satisfactory, the SLA would make an actual ransom demand.
Yeah, he wanted to see if he was good for
forgot
him.
these
Yeah,
stairs.
but unfortunately, he had a tacit misunderstanding of how money works in the country.
Yep. Now, once they discussed what this gesture of good faith would be ad nauseum, as the SLA did with every single subject, they decided that the Hearst Corporation should give $70 worth of food to every poor person in the state of California. To sell the idea, Sin had Patty make her first of many recorded messages, urging her family to fully cooperate with the SLA. Joining Patty in the closet with a tape recorder, extensive notes, and a flashlight was Sin, who untied Patty's hands and handed her the microphone. Sin then told Patty what to say, then had her repeat it back to him in her own words while he recorded her voice. Then, after each point, he'd switch off the tape recorder so he could prepare her for the next point.
He also would make her repeat things. He would say, do it again, take it back. Like, so she was heavily directed within her recording.
What you're about to hear is some of the first words the world heard from Patty Hearst post-kidnapping, in which you could clearly hear the stops and starts.
I'm with a combat unit that's armed with automatic weapons. And there's also a medical team here. And
Generous.
there's no way that I will be released until they let me go. So it wouldn't do any good for somebody to come in here and try to get me out by force. these people aren't just a bunch of nuts. And they've been really honest with me that they're perfectly willing to die for what they're doing. And I want to get out of here, but the only way I'm going to is if we do it their way. And I just hope that you'll do what they say, Dad, and just do it quickly. I've been stopping and starting this tape myself so that I can collect my thoughts. That's why there's so many stops in it.
God, literally telling her to be like, oh yeah, tell
this
the starts and stops.
Defensive.
Defensive. Well, because he was also re-listening as he was going. He's like, that doesn't sound right. We have to do it like this. Oh, no. They're going to think that you're the one, that we're forcing you to do this. So we have to make it so it sounds so involuntary and so voluntary. And they kind of begin this back and forth relationship. I actually feel like in that way, that's what he's starting to do, where he needs her to participate fully.
Yeah.
Because at this point in time, this is way in the beginning. They cannot afford to shoot her yet.
No.
How involved are the cops at this point?
I mean, the FBI, we're going to get into that. That's how we're going to start episode 2. But
Okay.
the FBI, it gets involved like immediately.
Yes.
This is a massive operation. Now, Patty collapsed and started sobbing immediately after recording that message, which ended up, it's 12 minutes long altogether. We just listened to a minute of it. And that's when Sin crawled over and pinched her nipple and pinched her between her legs, heavily implying that if she didn't continue to cooperate, sexual violence would soon follow. Now, the tape was sent out along with the demand to feed the poor of California, but the authorities soon deduced that the SLA's ultimate goal was the exchange of their 2 comrades in San Quentin.
Yeah, they came out and just said it in the newspapers. Like, they're obviously going to use Patty Hearst as a way to negotiate for the release of these 2 other people.
Yeah.
And Sin is immediately like, what the fuck? Who's talking? Who's talking? We gotta go.
And once deduced, then Governor of California, Ronald Reagan, responded with his now famous quote.
Well, you tell them they can forget it.
Oh, I thought his quote was, "Where are my pants?"
Funny stuff. It's an old, all right, just for those of you that don't know, that aren't 40 plus, Ronald Reagan was a controversial president back in the day. People seem to enjoy him, had Alzheimer's for the entire time of his presidency.
Well, the last 2 years.
That's enough.
Yeah. But he wouldn't read any of his reports. He had to make videos of it and show it to him on television every day.
He was an actor.
Randy Hearst, meanwhile, immediately announced on TV that Sin's plan would cost no less than $400 million, which in today's currency is $2.5 billion.
Well, he was like, because they just made this number up.
Yeah.
Yeah, $70 actually comes from the Sin-Q's actual inspiration, who's a very, very interesting person that is he was an activist and a revolutionary named George Jackson, who was a prisoner that wrote about finding Marxist and left-wing ideology in the prison community, and he was arrested for stealing quote-unquote $70 worth of food, and then he was held in jail indefinitely. George Jackson is a very compelling, interesting, an actual activist / revolutionary, and he sort of kind of stole from that. But Sin-Q never did the math.
No.
I mean, so there's 100 million people, like how many
Well, he
people in
just said
California?
all the poor people in California.
Yeah, and
It
they're
just- yeah.
so Randy Hearst literally was did the math on television. He's like, that's like $1 billion.
Yeah, because California by itself would be like the 5th biggest country in the world.
And they could do it. They just weren't going to.
I don't think they couldn't have.
I mean, if all
that's
they got
400,
everybody,
that's too much money. They didn't have that much
if
money.
they all pulled their fucking money together.
That's exactly what Sin-Q said. He's like, they could call their friends like the Shah of Iran.
They didn't do it though.
That's not
In the end, they didn't do it.
Not how it works.
You can shit in one hand, you can call the Shah of Iran in the other, and see which kid fills first.
Well, Randy couldn't pay that because the fact was Randy actually had access to a relatively small amount of cash. See, the Hearst family's money was not liquid. They didn't have a Scrooge McDuck safe where Randy swam in gold coins.
They should have, though, because that's cool.
You know, but if you jumped in a pile of gold coins, you would kill yourself.
Yeah, you just die immediately. Yeah, he'd have brain damage. Yeah, Scrooge McDuck would literally be Harrison Ford from Regarding Henry.
In fact, Randy actually had very little control over even the Hearst Corporation, because when William Randolph Hearst died, he gave Randy and his brothers only 5 seats on the board out of 13, so they couldn't ruin Daddy's company.
It's almost like there was only one smart one. It's almost like one super evil guy who realized, like, oh, you guys are going to fuck it all up.
Yep.
I got to bring in evil from outside.
Sin, of course, had no idea how true wealth worked, where most of the money is tied up in stocks, real estate, and various other hidey holes. There's also the super rich can avoid paying taxes like the rest of the country.
Also saw a fun little video that does remind me. It's like once money became not real, like once it became a place, it made much harder for, like back in the day, you know, when they wanted to take the Tsar of Russia's money, they just went and took it.
Yeah, they took all its jewels and gold.
They took the stuff.
Yeah.
Where, like, there's no stuff.
No.
For this money.
No.
Like, this is a fantasy world. America, baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally fake. It's just numbers on a piece of paper.
It's $1 million loan that a rich person takes out that they don't have to pay taxes on.
It's awesome. Good for them.
Well, eventually, Randy negotiated a food distribution program that would cost $2 million, estimating that the program could feed 100,000 people a month for a whole year. In addition, Randy hired an attorney to represent the 2 SLA members who were in San Quentin for the murder of Superintendent Marcus Foster. But none of this was satisfactory for Sin.
Seems like a lot of good work.
He did quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, it's possibly one of the largest, I think it is the largest food distribution program that has ever occurred in America, and that's including the Great Depression, like all the New Deal shit. And none of this was satisfactory for Sin. And Patty could sense that Sin really had no idea what he was doing. The SLA had begun with the idea of exchanging Patty for their comrades. But now all of a sudden they're coordinating food distribution programs that cost millions of dollars.
And he had no idea what even the concept of millions of dollars was and how to move that around and what to do with it. And so it's this, the dog caught the car.
Yes. Like most cult leaders, Sin was making it up as he went along. It also didn't help that the SLA was being criticized by radical organizations, black and white, for linking left-wing politics to the kidnapping of a teenager. Not to mention the murder of Marcus Foster, which everyone's still very pissed off about. As the days turned into weeks, Patty began to realize that the SLA were truly pathetic.
Starting to switch.
From her closet, she could hear their daily training, which was calisthenics in the morning and so-called military maneuvers in the afternoon.
This is in an apartment. Remember that this is like literally, there are other apartments in here. And the SLA is one of them.
They're doing up-downs and shit.
Yes. That is like all, that is not an exaggeration.
No, it's exactly what they're doing. And these maneuvers, which all had to happen within the confines of a small apartment, involved the 7 members of the SLA scurrying about the room, diving to the floor, and actually going pew, 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 bang, bang, bang.
Gotcha, pig. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh
Take
my
that,
God.
pig. You see, the thing is, then I would all be like, but then someone has to role play as the pigs, right? And go like, yeah, I'm the cops. And they're all like, I got you, pig. And then Jillian is like, what if I play Queen Elizabeth? And they're all like, wait a second, Jillian. All right, this isn't acting 101 anymore.
But we need to kill that pig, too.
Yeah, let's get her.
It's like, where's
In
it
other
still
words, Patty
dirty?
Hearst began
There.
to realize they were delusional. These delusions, of course, were only fed by the media, because while the story had not yet reached its height, this still wasn't the biggest story yet. It was still massive news.
Yes.
Sniffing their own farts as much as they could, SLA members would spend their days listening to the radio or watching TV, flipping through the channels continuously until they found someone talking about them or the kidnapping.
But then they talk a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, they're like, yeah, well, that's what they're getting that wrong. And they don't know what they're talking about, man. Meanwhile, like, it's just all just, they're doing it for attention.
Yeah, but after getting to know the SLA, Patty realized that they were only going to keep moving the goalposts, and any fantasy she might have had about being rescued, set free, or even killed were a waste of energy. And so Patty decided she would not think about the future at all. Instead, she would concentrate on staying alive one day at a time.
And we can all learn from that.
That's right. Now, even though Patty's mind was strong, her physical state was starting to deteriorate because she'd been kept blindfolded for weeks on end in a 6-foot by 2-foot closet without exercise. The SLA, of course, would never admit that this was indeed torture, and it's fucking sickening that the CNN series never even approaches this subject while talking extensively to Tecco, who pretty much drives the narrative of that entire series. It is seriously so fucking bad.
It's kind of like wildly irresponsible now after reading all of the other stuff that I've read. Because I just actually was so confused by their tone.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like they're mad at Patty Hearst.
Yes. But once Patty's health began to seriously deteriorate, the SLA at first just made fun of her for being a bourgeois weakling, or bougie in today's parlance. But pretty soon, they realized that if Patty didn't get some exercise, she might die. So several times a day, they began guiding her around the room outside the closet. When she got a little stronger, they had her do jumping jacks and knee bends, all while blindfolded. But after just a few days, they either lost interest or just plain forgot to do it, and Patty remained in the closet. Now, Patty knew she had to get out of there somehow. She just had to not even get away from the clutches of the SLA. She just had to get out of the closet.
She was going to die.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is too. It wears on you. This is what they talk about. This is why torture is illegal. Is that what at this point she'll do anything to get out of the first level of her situation. Like there's no even thought about escape because it's just how in the living fuck do I just get out of this closet?
Yeah.
Because eventually, I think in the back of your head, you know, this is not a permanent situation.
Yeah.
And the longer I'm in this small room, the longer it's more difficult for me to leave this room. The more I become a liability to the people outside of this room. The more and more they got to shuffle me around and no one's responding or the things are not working out. Like the more and more my position becomes more fragile in this place.
And once you thought of like as just something in the closet, you're not thought of as a human anymore.
Exactly.
And they already started off not thinking of her as human.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing was that the SLA was just as paranoid as you'd expect. So getting out of the closet was going to be difficult. They spoke in whispers because Sin was convinced the FBI had super listening devices. And when the SLA had meetings, they always turned the TV around because they believed the FBI could spy into their house through the TV screen.
I know Milton Berle's looking. I know he is.
I mean, nowadays, both of these things are very possible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're hearing it.
Oh, yeah, no, the government can listen to you through your TV controller.
Very, very easy. Yeah, they can see you from space.
Just ask Jeffrey Toobin.
Wow. But he did it himself. He did it to his own self.
But back then, of course, this was moronic, when TVs were made of gigantic tubes and glass and wood. But to further demonstrate the paranoia, the SLA started getting worried a few weeks in that their neighbors were going to catch on that they were a dangerous group of revolutionaries.
Guys, we got to do something. We got to do like a bake sale. We got to do like a garage sale or something. We got to put on a play. Yes. That's the best I think you. With us all together, I think we have just the perfect amount to do. Merrily we roll along.
Now, also, I was thinking maybe we should do our somersaults a little quieter.
A little quieter, because honestly, they are keeping me awake now.
And Henry, you may jest, but they put on a play.
Yes, they did.
Is it really?
Yep.
They held a make-believe party with
Act
loud...
like we're having fun. Because they didn't believe in drinking.
No, they didn't.
No smoking, no drugs.
Well, nobody believed in drinking except Senkyu.
Wow, it's so funny how
isn't that
Senkyu
crazy?
works out for him. I don't know why.
And how he never had to do the calisthenics or anything.
Weird.
Wow.
Yeah, he was born good. And they had to they're like, all right, now wave your arms more. Yeah, like you're really dancing.
Yep.
All right, now you dance with him. Cool, now make it funky now. Make it funky now. Make it funky now. Take it back. Take it back.
Yeah, they had
Get
loud
up off
music.
of that thing. I mean, literally, get up off thing. That table is fragile. Let's go. All right, drink the brown tea.
Fatty, you're eating too much.
I thought we were fake partying.
They even had ice clinking around in drinking glasses. Like they put ice and like clink, 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 clink.
Clink, clink like you're yelling. Clink, now clink like you're laughing.
See, the cover story was that the SLA, the house they were renting, the apartment they were renting, the cover story that they were telling people is that this is being rented by 2 stewardesses.
Yep.
So the SLA had to make sure to spill the party into the backyard where Kajo playing a pilot.
Yeah, you know how it is. You know how it is flying in the sky with the clouds and all. Clouds are a lot more solid than you'd think they'd be.
He discussed all of his various travel exploits in a loud voice while everyone else responded with their own tales of world travel.
Oh, hair's certainly confusing. Oh, yes, Logan International, also a miasma of lanes. There's so many, oh, man, birds, huh? What fucking pieces of shit they are.
But little by little, Sin opened the SLA's circle to Patty, and it was actually his paranoia that started it. See, Sin believed that if the FBI ever found them, they'd be forced to shoot their way out, and Sin decided that it would be best if Patty learned how to shoot her way out too.
Well, you're hanging out long enough.
Yeah. For 3 days straight, Patty practiced handling a sawed-off shotgun, breaking it apart, putting it back together, and getting comfortable holding it, mostly with the blindfold on. For Patty, though, guns weren't that foreign, because she'd often gone hunting with her dad when she was a kid. But pretty soon, Patty figured out that the more interest she took in what the SLA members were saying, the longer she was allowed to stay outside the closet. She was constantly thinking of questions to ask them, and no matter how silly or stupid those questions were, Sin and all the others would always answer in excruciating detail.
It's a good lesson to learn. People like talking about themselves.
Ask questions.
Patty also took up smoking to ingratiate herself even further because every SLA member was a chain smoker.
Because he couldn't smoke weed and he couldn't drink booze, according to SynQ.
One day, though, Sin told everyone else to leave the room so he could talk to Patty alone. He told her that he'd have to ask the Symbionese Liberation Army War Council first, but he was thinking of letting her join.
Just also remember, throughout this whole thing, SynQ is telling her that there's millions of units, that there's a whole army, that we were on the verge of some massive flip, like we were going to do all of this shit. And so she's listening and talk about this. It sounds completely outlandish, but she doesn't know.
No.
Yeah. You know, like she has no idea whether or not there actually is a sea of terrorists or not. But it sounds really legit at the very time. And then, but I think there's a little bit of like a, you guys let me in real fast.
Yeah.
Well, in Sin's words, Patty was like the pet chicken people have on the farm. When it comes time to kill it for Sunday dinner, no one really wants to do it.
He said this to her.
Yes. So, like in other revolutionary movements, when an enemy soldier is captured, Patty was given a choice. Fight for us or die.
I feel like a lot of farmers don't give a shit.
Yeah, they just kill the chicken.
I feel like that's the whole point of being a farmer, is that you're raising it to kill it.
Yeah,
And
you're
then if
done with the eggs.
and if
Now
you're-
I kill you and eat you.
What would happen to you? This is the Dust Bowl, and you had one chicken left, and then you're going to go feed the family, and then you, as the father, tell your hungry children, like, unfortunately, me and Dizzy are best friends now. You know, you're like, no, you're going to eat the chicken.
But before Patty was let into the SLA officially, she had to endure a horrible ordeal twice over. One night, Jelena whispered in Patty's ear that Kajo wanted to, quote, get it on with her, because everyone was feeling much more camaraderie towards her since she first arrived. That was their word, camaraderie. See, Jelena explained that as a part of Patty's education, she needed to learn what it's like to live in an underground cell in every way.
It's a whole lifestyle, girlfriend.
Yeah. But the SLA, free sex was a principle of the cell, because underground revolutionaries, they couldn't very well go out into the street and pick someone up in the usual way.
And it's not because we're not charming. And it's not because we're not incredible, amazing, romantic revolutionaries. That's for certain, and attractive, and ready to fuck. Certainly not that at all. No. Everybody wants us. It's so hard to choose the date.
So everyone in the cell had to take care of the needs of everyone else. And while no one was forced to have sex, or so Jelena said, it was very camaraderie to always say yes if asked.
It's almost sort of like, it's like forced.
Yes.
By the group, yeah.
Immediately after Jelena explained this, Kajo entered the closet, raped Patty, and left. 3 days later, Sin did the same thing. Now, while Patty was just trying to survive the fucking closet, much less everything that came after, her father was looking for help to organize Sin's unrealistic demand that the Hearst family personally feed every poor person in California.
I have very little nice to say about any other member of the Hearst family. They all don't need to be around. But he did try his best.
Randy tried really fucking hard.
He did try to find her. Very, very badly. But it's like, that's what we kind of said. This story would be very different if this was the story of a young woman that was kidnapped for a month and then a very powerful family sent in a band of mercenaries to kill them all one by one, right? Like, this would be a very different story. He did try to work his way around this. And weirdly, in a way, he learned a lot about people. Randy Hearst had to talk to poor people for the first time in his life. And it really was, it sounds like it was kind of an educational experience for him.
Now, the SLA, I'm sorry if this is a little off topic. Did they have jobs? Where did they get money?
My friend.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Now, since this was San Francisco in 1974 and the operation involved the underprivileged class, who else should pop up their head offering help but the Reverend Jim Jones?
Oh.
Yeah.
6 years before Guyana.
Would you like a drink?
His offer was politely declined, but incredibly, this will not be the last we'll hear from Jim Jones in this series.
Yeah, dude, everybody's hanging out in this time period.
It's
like
wild.
they're all there, dude.
Yeah.
Like L. Ron Hubbard's in town. Yeah, like he's literally in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
So he's right down the street.
Now, even though Randy soon found people that seemed like they knew what they were doing, the program, which was actually attempted, was nevertheless a disaster on most fronts. Millions of dollars worth of food was distributed at points in San Francisco, Richmond, East Palo Alto, and Oakland.
It actually happened.
Yeah, and on the day of distribution, thousands of people lined up for food. But while it went okay at best in the first 3 cities, riots broke out in Oakland, 21 people ended up in the hospital, and 1 woman lost an eye. She ended up suing both the Hearst family and the city of Oakland for $1 million.
Good for her.
Soon after, Hearst publicly communicated to the SLA that he could not contribute any more money to the food distribution program. So in response, the SLA left a package behind a toilet in a popular San Francisco restaurant. Inside the package was another tape, this one recorded by Jelena and Patty. Now, Jelena was not one of the SLA members who spoke with a faux black accent, but she did speak with one on this tape, possibly because Sin was starting to feel insecure that there were no black people in his black liberation movement.
Do you think that he would just straight up say, like, you need to sound blacker?
I think so.
Wow.
I think on this one, because, I mean, why
No
else?
one's ever asked that of me.
Because why else would Jelena use it? You know, like...
To feel cool.
Yeah.
I think that they all are also like,
Or disguise her voice.
Yeah, but they're posers. These guys are...
They are posers.
Legitimately...
These people are the definition of posers.
They are... You know what a good word for them is? Dips.
Yeah. That is a good word for
These
them.
guys they're not good at any of this.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it was just to kind of like make Sin Q smile.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But after Jelena said her piece demanding that the SLA be allowed to communicate with their comrades in prison live on national television, she handed the microphone to Patty, whose frequent conversations with SLA members had somewhat changed the tone of her voice. In this communique, which was typed and written for her to read, Patty said that she no longer feared the SLA because they were not the ones who wanted her to die. She realized now, it was written, that it was actually the FBI who wanted to murder her. She also said that she'd been issued a 12-gauge shotgun to protect herself, which did not sound good. Now, Patty's tone and the content of the speech, this was the first time that public opinion started to turn against Patty Hearst. And it seemed like there were very few people willing to speculate that she might just be going along to get along.
I think there's a couple factors here. I think one is she had learned to talk the talk of the SLA within the SLA in order to, according to her, further ingratiate herself to the crew, which makes
just to
total
stay
sense.
out of the closet.
Absolutely. And then what you're talking, like, legitimately, these guys, like, unfortunately, I'm not. It's like it's why some of this, but the political stuff is a little hard to understand. Is that it's a language. It's a language, and there's a glossary of terms, and so she started inhabiting the terms, and so I think
And
there's
the patter, too.
and the patter, and so I think that the second option is also like they're looking at her being like, oh, wow, how would she even get to know all of this if she didn't want to be a part of it? Like, there's no way this little girl would be clever enough to fake this. She has to be an utter revolutionary now,
Yeah.
even though it's been a couple weeks.
It's a couple weeks.
Yes.
That's what I was about to ask.
Or she has to be brainwashed.
Brainwash is the big term.
Yeah, that's the big term here. Yeah, but no one's entertaining, like, maybe she's clever enough to fake it.
Maybe she's
Also,
lying.
she was kidnapped.
Yeah.
You know, like even if she did go to the other side, you still have to save her.
We're going to come against this. We're going to come against this time and time again, but it's got to do with her last name.
Yep. And this was, after all, 1974. And the elder generation, after the tumult of the 60s, had come to see the youth of America as dangerous and unpredictable. To the establishment, it wasn't unthinkable that a young woman, even a Hearst,
Almost especially a Hearst.
yep, could very easily be turned into a violent Marxist in just a month. But as Patty put it, she was ready to do or say anything the SLA asked, however they wanted it said, because her life was firmly in their hands. And yeah, it was a month at this point. It wasn't
was a
just,
month.
Yeah, it was a month.
Still.
Yeah. Now, on March 21st, Patty was told that their safe house was getting hot. So the SLA moved Patty to a new location in a plastic garbage can with 2 holes cut in the top that they tossed in the trunk of the car.
Yeah, they put her in a garbage can, so that's how they brought her back and forth.
Oh my God. You know they were just getting evicted.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, no, we heard you having that fake party last night. We're actually, we just hate you. The whole building hates you. Everybody else just hates you. Have a real party, okay?
As they left, Zoya told Patty that if she let out a single sound, she was going to fill the garbage can full of holes with her machine gun. So Patty did as she was told, spending 45 minutes silently banging around in the trunk of an SLA car. Once they got to the new safe house, Jelena, usually the friendly one, made fun of Patty for how docile she'd been, saying that they could have taken her out into the woods to shoot her, and Patty wouldn't have known the difference.
And you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of an issue here. Well, because it's funny, because like someone like her, this shows this sort of like double layer of I am a revolutionary and I'm an actual child that just barely got out of college. And this is a fun adventure for me. Like, I believe that people
talking
like
about,
Jelena.
like, Jelena?
Yeah, Jelena looks at this as like, she wouldn't believe. She think that we would take her out to a field and shoot her in the head. Meanwhile, like, you have a submachine gun.
Yeah.
And you put her in a garbage bag, and you've been telling her you were going to shoot her in the head. She's also been raped twice, and now we're all going to act like, Patty, you're crazy. Patty, so dramatic.
Well, much to Patty's horror, when she was brought inside the new safe house, she found that her new closet was a pantry. It was only about 2 feet deep. The door, however, didn't close, which meant Patty could see what was happening outside at night. That's when she discovered that she was guarded at all times by 2 heavily armed SLA members. In
Oh, it
that
didn't finish the
moment,
fence.
she realized that a simple escape in the middle of the night was nothing but another fantasy she had to disabuse. Now, after a few days in the new safe house, Sin approached Patty again about joining the SLA. And without hesitation, Patty told him that she wanted to join and fight for the people, knowing now that joining was the only way to survive.
Wow.
But in order for her to join, all of the SLA had to unanimously agree.
So they have the sit-downs like they do in Drag Race All-Stars? they do that.
That's
They
exactly,
literally go from
exactly
place-
what it was.
Yes.
Now tell me, like, why do you think you deserve to be the new SLA All-Star?
I just feel that I messed up one time.
I just feel that this competition's about consistency and
if we're going by the
according to the rules, Jelena's been in the bottom twice now.
So I just feel like it would be fair to send Jelena.
So for a full week, Patty had to have heart-to-heart talks with every member of the cell, where she regurgitated everything they taught her during her long re-education seminars.
Just understand that this is the acting job of her fucking life.
Yes.
You have to get that on some point during this process, like whether you believe or not that she was quote unquote capital B brainwashed, you have to believe that during this section, she had to show that she truly believed. She had to, this is her knowing that if she doesn't convince them in this moment, she is very probably going to get shot in the head.
Yeah. Because they did at one point say, like, you could maybe go home or you could stay and fight with us.
That
And
was not an option.
No, going home means dying.
Anybody that says, and I've seen several sources that try to say, like, they tried to let her go home in the beginning. They did not. That is absolute, utter horseshit.
Yes.
They've already killed people. There is no reason why she shouldn't think that she's not going to get killed by them.
Yes. While most members loved Patty's enthusiasm, Teko and especially Yolanda weren't convinced. Yolanda was grim-faced, withdrawn, and mean, a perfect match for Teko, who was himself an arrogant twat. As a result, they both questioned Patty for hours in front of the whole group. Even Sin had a bit of a hard time believing that Patty was truly as gung-ho about the cause as she seemed to be, and at one point, he asked her if she was sure that she hadn't been brainwashed.
Have you been brainwashed?
But Patty flipped the script and clinched it by asking Sin, "You don't believe the pigs in the press, do you?"
That's just, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Genius.
It's very smart.
And so, one day, Patty was led to a meeting where she sensed a decision had been made. Sin told her that the sisters and brothers had voted for her to join this particular SLA combat team. Sin declared that she was now a guerrilla fighter and soldier in the Symbionese Liberation Army.
Wow!
And that's when Patty took off her blindfold and got a good look at her revolutionaries for the first time since the night of her kidnapping.
She thought, remember, that most of these people were black people, a part of this black liberation movement.
Yes.
And she thought that they would all be these sexy, dangerous-looking,
Commanding people,
commandos.
you're big, strong.
Yes.
I'd be so fucking bad.
I'd just be like, can I go? Yeah. She pulled it off. Oh, yeah, and I love this statement.
Yeah, she later wrote that her first thought was, "Oh, God, what a bunch of ordinary, unattractive little people."
Yeah. She's like, oh, no, it's the C team. Because then she realized, like, oh, shit, you're a bunch of children.
Yeah. But of course she didn't say this. Instead, the first thing she said was like, "Oh my God, you're all so attractive."
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
She then had to identify each SLA member by their voice, and members were delighted when she was able to name all of them in turn,
Yeah, that's
reacting.
Who's she? Which one's she? Yeah, let me do the impersonation. Hey, how you doing? Which one's she?
And they reacted as if they were celebrities being recognized by a fan.
That is so me. That's so what I sound like. It sounds like me.
No awareness that that's how they were going to get sent to prison.
Yes. Yeah, like it's been logged.
Now, just like everyone else in the SLA, Patty Hearst needed a new name, but she was not given a Swahili name. Instead, she was given the name of one of Che Guevara's guerrilla fighters, which really burned Yolanda's ass.
Oh, yeah.
But nevertheless, from that day forward, Patty Hearst was known as Tanya to the rest of the SLA.
Tanya, the fierce. Tanya, the unredeemable.
Tanya, the Tucker.
Yeah. Well, Tanya, you know that Tanya's the name of Che Guevara's girlfriend?
Yeah. That's what she was named after.
And that's why Yolanda was mad. She was like, I'm Che Guevara's girlfriend.
Now, as the new recruit, Patty was given a tour of the safe house and was assigned cleaning duty. See, contrary to what you might think, each member of the SLA was expected to be clean and they were expected to appear impressive at all times. Sin didn't even approve of blue jeans because he said black people don't wear jeans, and such clothes didn't instill the respect the SLA needed from the people.
Sin, we're not black.
But maybe one day, it'll all be different.
You mean I'm going to stay this color?
It was during cleaning, though, that Patty realized just how heavily armed the SLA was. The bedroom closet had machine guns, rifles, a shotgun, and weapons Patty didn't even recognize. They also had bombs. They had sticks of dynamite. And as far as Patty's first SLA weapon went, she was issued an M1 carbine. Once they said that she was in, she was fucking in.
Yeah, man. It was quick. Quick initiation.
All right,
man.
you're a prisoner, and here's your gun.
Here's your gun. All right, honestly, I'm so glad we're over that prisoner bit, huh? Don't you love that gun?
Yeah. Once she was in, once that day came when she said, I'm joining you, she had spent 57 days in the closet. And she had about 540 days left to go with the SLA. Now, it's around this time that Patty first saw Yolanda bouncing around the house in the blue bathrobe Patty had been wearing when she was kidnapped. Since the kidnapping, the female members of the SLA had sewn up the rips and tears and delighted in sharing it with one another. Patty also realized that the toothbrush she'd been using all this time was a communal toothbrush that every member of the SLA shared. Having your own.
Kaju?
Oh, yeah, especially Kachu. I used it twice.
On my ass.
Yeah. I got a lot of plaque in there, apparently.
Having your own toothbrush, they said, was a bourgeois luxury, as was bathroom privacy. The SLA believed that no comrade should close the door while showering or going to the bathroom, no matter how nasty of a shit you were taking. They insisted that it was uptight for anyone to be embarrassed over normal bodily functions.
That's why I poop my pants. I just think it's fun. It's Cal. It shows my authority.
It's the only thing they had in common with Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, pissing the door open. If they knew, they might have understood him more.
Yeah.
Now, one morning, Patty noticed that Zoya and Sin were having a conversation that was far different from the regular revolutionary patter. Instead, they were discussing the logistics of robbing a liquor store. When they noticed Patty's confusion, they very simply said, look, we need the money.
We need money.
Gotcha.
But after discussing it more, Sin declared that the SLA had no choice but to rob a bank, which was met by audible gasps from the other members.
Yeah. Because they were all like, that's amazing. Because they thought, because he was, Sin Q, so delusional. He was just like, fuck a goddamn liquor store. It's like, no, we need to go up to the top where the pigs are, the bank.
But was he delusional? Because it fucking worked. And as Sin put it,
People said I was wrong. People said that cum humor would never, ever get you a wife. But guess what, man? I'm living proof.
well, as Sin put it, the cell needed thousands of dollars, not hundreds. But while the robbery was still in its planning stages, the SLA wanted to show off their newest recruit. Sin ordered Zoya to dress up Patty like a combat soldier for a picture to send to the press. After putting her in fatigues, they handed Patty a semi-automatic gun and had her pose in front of a homemade Symbionese Liberation Army flag.
It's the only thing that makes me mad is because the flag's awesome.
Yeah.
The fucking symbol's awesome. I love it. So it's stupid, but it's great.
Yeah.
And it's what, a Symbian on a white flag?
No, the Sybian Liberation Army. It's a Sybian with two flaming wings and a woman hanging by her vagina at the very top of it.
Zoya then took a Polaroid and sent it to the press. And it's this photo with Patty holding the gun that lives in the minds of many when they think of Patty Hearst.
It's the very front of the Tubin fucking Express video thing that he did.
Along with the photo was a taped message from Patty, in which she said that she was now Tanya, urban guerrilla. And she ended the message with the words of the Cuban revolutionary from whom she took her name. She said,
Patria o muerte, venceremos.
Ooh, ay, ay, ay. And that means fatherland or death. We shall be victorious.
and it makes absolutely no fucking sense in this context.
Yeah,
It makes no sense.
It makes sense
makes
in
no
Cuba, like for urban guerrillas like fighting for their freedom, but it does not make any fucking sense here.
It's almost like they didn't have a tacit understanding of what they were talking about.
Yeah, but Patty Hearst, she's got a sense of humor about this. Years later, she was having she had a conversation with John Waters in 2020 in Town and Country magazine, and John Waters said that Patty Hearst once told him that picture is going to be the picture they use in her obituary when she dies. But Patty said the only good thing about it, at least I was thin.
Yeah, it's funny as hell.
But either way, it's with Patty's further involvement with the SLA and the bank robbery that made this the biggest crime story of the decade that we'll return next week with Patty Hearst Part 2.
Damn, We got a lot of shit here, dude.
Yeah, full story. We're gonna get into the full story of the SLA, their full history, and shit, man. What comes after the bank robbery is
just
fucking insane.
It's just as crazy. There's a whole third act to the story. That's what made this kind of longer.
Yeah.
Was because there's a third act to this that I did not know even existed, and it's great. It's great. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if I can tell you, babe, but we're having fun. Come down to patreon.com/lastpodcast on the left. You can watch us flop around.
Oh, I wanted to finish this before ending stream. But
Yeah, Henry
it's like I
stands
still
up
have a good bit
occasionally.
left.
It's incredible what I do. You have no idea what happens here. TikTok at LP on the left. You can go all the stupid socials.
And be sure to check us out at LPN TV.
We'll save it
That's
for next time.
twitch.tv/LPN.
This is a good time to end since we finished this part. Ugh. Ugh. Ooh, stretching. Oh, it's been happening a lot more lately where I go to stretch my arms and like some bit in my like elbows crack. Sometimes it's a big crack. It feels great. Ugh. Ow. Oof. Anyway, good stream. I am happy. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Thank you for chatting. Hopefully we see you next time. Love you all. Bye. 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 Bye.